Hello, podcast listeners. Can you believe this is the 10th episode of the Just Drew podcast? If you've tuned in thus far, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Myself and Drew have had a blast creating this. There has definitely been some learning curves as well as a location change. If you haven't noticed, if you're watching this on YouTube or social media, our studio has moved. And I can't wait to film a new episode in the new studio. We pre-recorded 3 episodes before the move. I'm just kind of doing the intros here at the new studio. Anyways, welcome back. Thank you for your patience on this month-long pause as we're transferring the new studio over. Today's guest is Tyler Ferguson. He is the owner and creator of Wishbone Brewing Company in Waterford, Ontario. He grew up in the Brant, Norfolk County rural area. Prior to the beer scene, he managed a sales department at an automotive dealership. Always having a passion for beer, he finally turned that passion into a brewery. Tyler likes all things sports, international foods, barbecue, especially spending time with friends and family, and all things surrounding the taste of beer and the craft behind beer making. But famously, you may know Tyler from his well-crafted trivia nights on Sundays. I try to make it there whenever I can. It's an experience. Tyler is one of my favorite people to run into. He's always happy to see you, and he has so much passion behind his craft. In this episode, we obviously talk about all things beer, but we also talk about his struggles and hardships behind opening a brewery and continuously running a brewery, as well as what he's learned along the way. Now, obviously having a brewery owner on, I didn't make a custom cocktail for this episode, so instead I'm going to feature a few of my favorite beers from Wishbone Brewing Company. Thanks for tuning in.
On today's menu, we have some delectable works of art from Wishbone Brewing Company, located in the historic building once home to the Dominion Telephone Company in Waterford, Ontario. With a fast-changing rotation of both traditional and more inventive, modern styles of beer, your taste buds are in luck. Now for Drew's all-time favorite, the Black Bridge Stout. This one sits at 4.5%. An easy-drinking stout with mild notes of baker's chocolate and nutty coffee. Named after Waterford's iconic Black Bridge, this stout is only brewed with the finest English malts, Maris Otter, crystal, and roasted barley. The beer goes down even easier, knowing that a portion of the proceeds goes to the Waterford Heritage Trail Association, which helps to keep up the bridge and adjoining trail network. Next is the Timberline Light Lager. Sitting at 4%, this is brewed with barley and rice, lagered for what felt like forever. Timberline is certifiably crispy. Hops provide some light floral notes and hints of lime, which float above the rice cracker malt profile. Last but not least, we have the Crowned Fruit Pineapple Waterford Weiss. It may be sitting at a mere 3.8%, but packs a crispy light punch of pineapple flavor, consisting of water, barley, wheat, hops, yeast, and pineapple puree. This is a Just Drew podcast summer favorite. And now here's Tyler Ferguson.
Hey you, you're listening to Just Drew, Just Drew, Just Drew.
There's
the fist. There's the fist.
There it is. You'll notice it because when you're talking this far away, as opposed to this.
It's more sensual down here.
Yes, we want people to really kind of fall into your beautiful voice. They're gonna be driving down the highway like, man, this guy.
I don't think I have a radio voice. It's more, I don't know. What do you guys think of your voices?
Personally, I think I would like it to be deeper.
Okay.
I have a higher pitched voice, at least I think, personally. But then people have been telling me, like, yeah, you have a really good voice for podcasts.
Okay.
And I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm used to hearing myself just from doing social media all the time and things like that. So it's...
You do have... It's like a unique voice.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, no one has the perfect radio voice except the radio people, right?
Yeah.
So, unique voice. I feel mine's like nasally sometimes. You know, it's like, it can be deeper, but it's like a nasally deep. It's like I talk out of my front teeth.
I think I think English in general is more nasally.
Yeah.
So I've been told.
So should we do French?
Do you know French?
No.
Oh, I was gonna be really impressed.
That's like one of my goals in life, and I'm like, that's a lot of time I gotta dedicate.
I know my vocabulary pretty well. I could put some sentences together. Like,
yeah,
it's the grade 12 like master of French, and then it all just disappears, and some of it comes back.
I went on a trip with a lot of family. There's like 22 of us, but one of my cousin's fiancés, he's hilarious, and he just likes blurting out random sentences in different languages, even if they make no sense. So he like have a beer, and he's like, "Un vert bébé," which is just like a green baby. But he'll just say stupid shit like that, and everybody just starts dying.
I mean, if you can be that spontaneous,
yes,
then why the fuck not?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
a bit of a crazy morning for you?
yeah, just a lot of things in one day. Are we up and running?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right, sorry.
We're trying something new.
Snuck that on, yeah.
Yeah, now I'm just going to start stuttering the whole time. No. Yeah, so it was a bit of a crazy morning. Yeah, the brewery owner life is, longer days, nighttime, get home late, try to get a little bit of sleep, but all the things you need to do during the week is always morning stuff. So just trying to get trivia, started for the week because I make that from scratch every week.
Yeah, I can't wait to dive in on that.
Oh, yeah, it's a good time. And trying to get pictures for on a couple awards that we won. Just a lot of miniature tasks that take time.
Yeah. It's always like, I always have a heaping pile of things to edit.
Yeah.
But then there's all these like administrative things. At least that's what I call them.
That's a good category.
Yeah, like call this, email this person, talk to this person about this. Hey, can you do this? You got to get a COI for this event and talk to insurance for here. And it's just, and then by the time you know it, it's like 5 o'clock. And you're like, shit, I didn't get any of the bulk of like the bulk of the work done. It's just.
We should talk about COIs.
Yeah.
Because everyone's like, what's a COI?
Certificate of insurance, everybody.
You think, hey, I'm going to pour beer at this event. I need some insurance.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to manually contact your insurance company, get a specific letter with proper addresses and numbers. And it's like, oh, it's free. It's like, wait, it's free? It's like, well, I have insurance, so isn't that enough? And the amount of places we go to, we're all over doing festivals in the wintertime, especially, and in the summer.
And they know this.
They know it.
But they ask.
It's like, well, I need a contract that just shows where you're going and all that stuff. And I'm like, is my word not good enough?
Yeah.
Like I'm just trying to get,
like, just,
I want coverage. I want everything to be good. But like, why? It's great. I have like an email and they need like 2 or 3 weeks notice because they have to submit it to the underwriters and do all this. And it's like, you never say no. You always get it. It doesn't cost anything more. So like, why are we doing this?
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's some, I don't know, like the head office doesn't like it or something. There's something like bureaucratic behind why.
Well, it's definitely different for you because my COIs revolve around clothing. Like,
yes,
I would assume nobody's going to hurt themselves with clothing. You could if you tried.
You could.
But yeah, we go to an event, we have to get one. You, on the other hand, there's alcohol, and then there's the liquor control board that's involved.
Yep. They're
ACGO and
ACGO. They're fine. If you do everything you should, everything's
follow
fine.
the rules.
It was actually kind of funny. We this past weekend we were at the Canadian Brewing Awards and Conference, and so you have a room full of beer, like I don't know, a few hundred beer people, maybe even more. And there's the award-winning beers. If you won anything, you would donate a case or two. So the whole weekend you're just drinking award-winning beer, right? And at the last day, which is like the gala event where they're presenting all the awards, AGCO comes in for an inspection, right? And they're like, well, you can't serve cans and hand cans to people. It's a sampling event. So they had to pour 4-ounce samples. So we have these cups that are 2 inches tall, and the bar line was 100 people deep the entire time. And even the gent who was the MC was just like, we can all thank this gentleman right here who's staring at me that we cannot have a can of beer. Us beer people, the brewers, you cannot have a can of beer. And it was hilarious, right? But yeah, there's always these intricate little things, these policies or things from a long time ago that don't always like match up to what today's...
They don't apply today, but nobody corrects them.
Yeah,
They just enforce them.
Yeah.
And they don't question why they're enforcing it.
exactly.
Which is like, I don't mean to judge, but I'm like, I feel like I wouldn't want to be... Oh, I have bar rag on here.
I mean, you're ready to go.
Yeah, I know, right? Oh my God, a spill.
Yeah.
I feel like, yeah, I have a lot of complaints revolving around a lot of policies. And I don't even run and operate a brewery, so.
And
but I know, like, I am
Yeah.
aware of what goes on.
policies are
Yeah.
great because there needs to be structure,
Yeah,
right?
there needs to be structure. You can't
Modern
have,
structure.
Yeah.
That's all I
You
ask.
can't be people brewing moonshine in the parking lot in a garbage can.
Yeah.
It's like,
you
I get
shouldn't.
it.
You shouldn't.
I get it.
All right.
People do.
People do, right? Just don't sell it personal use.
Yeah.
That's fine, right? But no, it is what it is, right? It's a governing body,
Yeah.
to protect everybody, sure, right? But hey, it is what it is, and our local guy is a nice gent, so can't complain on my end. So yeah,
He's just doing a job.
doing a job, shows up.
But I wonder if there is a process or whoever, like, do people review all of these policies ever? Or is there a review every 4 years or every 5 years? Because I feel like some policies, like we're saying, get outdated
Yeah,
and don't apply anymore. And it's like, do we just keep piling policies on for 100 years?
you
Like,
took the words out of my mouth. I was gonna say they don't edit, they add.
always add.
But then there's always contradictions between the new and the old, and then there's this massive gray area,
Yeah.
and do what you got to do, right?
I'm obviously not going to say who this is, but there was a story. There was a brewery that I know of, has a secret bar. They wanted to, it was their birthday the next day or something, brand new. And they have a fridge, I think, in there and some kegs.
Sure.
That's it. And they told them that you're not allowed to open because you don't have a fire suppressive system or something to do with fire.
Sure.
In my head, I'm like, well, like, the fridge could maybe catch on fire, but it is a fridge. It's cold, and it's also in a metal. The whole thing's metal,
Yep. Yep.
and it's outside.
And it's outside.
And they want to tell them that they can't serve beer for their birthday. And I'm like, I don't know. So I asked, like, what did you do? Like, we just did it anyways.
Yeah. Well, there's two ways to look at it. I look at that like, hey, like in order to open, you'd have to have all your, electrical, all your permits. So things would have to be safe.
I think everything's in a row.
And I'm
Yeah.
sure it was, right?
Yeah.
So, you can't just be like, oh, there's electricity, a fire could start. Like, that's ridiculous if you have everything past inspection, right? And can you do things like that? Yeah, you can hope for a slap on the wrist, and we've all heard that before. But the time, like, you do it and you get caught, like, for when I look things at, like, on my end, it's like my living is based off of this license. All of our staff depend on this license. So sometimes Tyler wants to work in the gray area, but Wishbone Tyler has to operate.
Be responsible and
Exactly. So, it can be tough sometimes, but I've always, like, what I sometimes have a problem with, if we're doing like an event or something, that event that day is like the most important thing in the world. And it's like, I hyper focus on it. And then it's like, no, everything has to be perfect. This has to be like this has to be like that. We have to have approvals, blah, 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 blah. And then like a month later, I'm like, why was I so stressing out about everything like that? It's done. It happened. It was fine. You know what I mean? And that's just the way my brain works, right? It's what's happening now in like short term. Like there's no margin for error. I don't know what it's my personality. It's great sometimes for organization, but some other times it makes you very tired.
Yeah. How long ago did you open the brewery?
Yeah, so 2020 we started like construction and
Okay.
the process. We ended up opening July of 2021, so we're going into year 3 will be this summer.
Okay.
So yeah,
And it's going well?
it's going good. It's going good. It's unreal. Like again, we have a space. We make good beer, and at this before you open, you're just like, all right, hopefully people will show up, type of thing, right? And couldn't I like if I fast forward from that, I couldn't even imagine like we're on busy event nights, we're turning people away because we don't have enough space.
Anytime I show up, it's like a struggle to find a table, which I'm not even mad about. I'm just like, this is awesome.
It's
You can't complain.
no, it's a good problem.
Yeah.
But still, the look of disappointment in some people's face, right? When and I'll bring up trivia. Music's not too bad because you can stand in a corner, like you can like we'll get you in, you know what I mean? But like trivia, you need a table, you have a team, you have a pen and paper, like you need your little station, right?
Yeah.
And it can be like sardines, right? But we make it work, and we have capacities that we have to do our best with.
Yes. Is it still every Sunday night trivia?
Every Sunday, 6:30 start sharp on the 6:30.
Nice.
And you got to be there before 5:30 generally to get a table.
Yeah.
Damn.
You can reach out ahead of time and say, "Hey, we got 4 coming," and I say okay, and I get a table in my head on my little mental map. I get a piece of receipt paper and do a little drawing of our floor plan. It looks hilarious because it looks like a child did it. And I do a quick little circle table, square table, and I start writing like team names on these tables if I know they're coming. But then what will happen is a group of 8 will walk in who's not playing trivia. It's raining outside, and we have to take care of them because we're just open for business, right? So then we're trying to take care of everybody. It's definitely my most stressful time is that like hour and a half before trivia, just getting everyone in and settled. Cause like I want people to be comfortable. Like I want there to be enough space between tables. I'm very, I want people to, if someone's not having a good time, I like take it personally, right? Cause I care.
I can relate.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I'm very much if I have anybody over, I'm like, making sure they have a drink or it's full or they have snacks or
it's important.
Yeah.
Right? You need to have those Cool Ranch Doritos around.
Or sweet chili heat.
So yeah, sweet. Or you can do the mix.
You could do the mix.
Yeah.
I like to do sweet chili heat, hear me out.
Yeah.
And hell of a dip. Cools the heat down, but you still get the flavor.
That is good. That's
not to derail the conversation here, but great combo.
I need to mentally write that down. That sounds great.
Before we go any further, can we tell people your brewery, where it is, where it's located?
That's important information.
Yeah, we haven't mentioned that yet.
For this.
Yes.
It's Wishbone Brewing Company in Waterford. We're right downtown, across from the Waterford ponds there. We've been, like I said before, about 3 years now. Got a tap room. We brew everything on site. Got a nice long bar you can sit at. We got nice snacks you can have.
Yep. Beautiful patio.
Nice patio. Yep. Yeah. We when the weather. It's funny though how another tangent, but in the fall, right? People will be like, it'll be like 12 degrees outside, right? And they're like, oh geez, they're trying to get the extension of summer. They're like, oh, the patio's great. 12 degrees in the springtime. People are like, that's way too cold, right? And because they're just like, I don't know, their mind is just acclimatized in certain ways. But yeah, when the weather gets nice, then we roll the doors up and just serve some beers, have a good time.
I think for me at least, when spring hits and it's 12 degrees, I'm like, oh, it's so warm out.
Yes.
So I'm comparing it to the 0.
I get it.
In October, I'm used to all the heat. When the 12 hits, it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's cold.
We have patio heaters, and we go through basically. I have to get 3 new ones every year because they fall in the wind. We got these fancy ones this year that have like a glass tube in the middle and like flames go up it. Two of them have smashed, like because of the wind. It's like a wind tunnel downtown sometimes.
Yeah.
And or you turn on the heat to full blast, and someone gets a pint and is there for a little while, burn through a tank of propane. I'm like, well, that maybe wasn't the most financially lucrative option, but hopefully they'll come back and remember the experience.
Had a nice warm spot to sit. Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. But yeah, heaters are important. But no, it's a nice spot. Definitely. Honestly, our whole area is like just filled with gems, right?
Yeah.
Like within like 20 minutes, you have breweries, you got wineries, you got coffee roasters, bakeries. It's awesome. It's when I moved to the county like 6-7 years ago, I was like, okay, there's little hamlets everywhere, and kind of all centered around Simcoe as like the main city center. But then like the last few years, it's just like little shops and little hidden gems, right?
Yeah.
We're pretty lucky.
Yeah. Because I work in Toronto a lot, and I meet people, and like some of them don't even. I've talked to people, and they don't even know where Lake Erie is, which is shocking to me. But anyways, I digress. I am like, hey, if you need to come down here, like I need to show you some spots, because I meet some foodies and things like that. And like, yes, Toronto's great. You can pretty much get any cuisine you want, but I'm like, you got to come. It's super unique. And like, even like tacos and tequila down in Normandale, it's like such a scenic, hidden, on the water, on the cliffside, in trees. And then you have this family that has moved from Mexico, and like authentic Mexican cuisine. And it's like, where are you going to find that?
I mean,
nowhere.
Around here, nowhere. Right?
Nowhere.
Yeah, it's wild though, but what I find is like, people want it, but like, it's tough these days to start a business, especially like on the retail or like a restaurant side. I couldn't even imagine all the restaurateurs out there who are doing things with just the prices of everything these days. Like, it is a tough gig. Everything's gone up in price, everything, right? But if you're gonna do it and go for it, you have to just go in. Like, there's no dipping your toes, getting them wet. You have to go like full cannonball, because you have to create an impact really early. And if you don't, it's gonna be a struggle.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a struggle. Like, people are very supportive, but it's such a big county too, right? So, if you're gonna do something, do it well.
Yeah.
Right. And you'll do well. Right. So, yeah.
At least around the county, I feel like when something new pops up, people are there's such a community here. It's why I stayed, really.
Nice.
It's everybody's so supportive, and like when a new venture pops up, everybody's like support, and it does well. And I don't know. I don't think there's any limit to like too many of something. Like there's 80,000 people in the county. Which people don't realize. It's a lot of people.
It is a lot of people.
Yeah.
So you can have plenty of thriving businesses.
Yeah, like,
right.
Doesn't need to be one coffee shop. Like, there can be multiple coffee shops. There can be multiple breweries, multiple wineries. Like, there's enough room. There's enough people.
And that's where, like, I don't know, we do collaborations with breweries all the time, making beers. And, we team up with, like, Concession Road Brewing in Jarvis. We have our celebration beer that celebrates Wishbone's opening. So we have Celebration. It's technically Celebration 4.0. It's the third year, because we came out with one right away, and then you have year 2, the first 1 year anniversary, 2 years. So we're on the 4th beer, but anyways. And we get together in Jeff's backyard.
Shout out to Jeff and Shannon.
Woo.
Concession Road.
Oh, yeah. He has a pizza oven in his backyard, like a wood oven. And we make a bunch of pies and just talk and have some beverages, and we'll be like, what are we going to do for our cocktail-inspired beer? And it is awesome. It's so much fun. We're like nerding out and talking about different, European grains and these hops from New Zealand and what fruits and wood and just like, wood chips, or like, what are we going to, any weird ingredient, right?
Yeah, smoke your beer.
Exactly, right. And we figure that out and have a good time. But again, working together as a team, right?
Yeah, it's awesome.
And there's no, like, I don't know. Because like I said before, there's enough people in the county to support multiple businesses. So
Yeah.
why not work together and collaborate? You learn more about yourself. You learn more about people in the community. It's just a no-brainer, right?
Yeah, and even if Jeff has a different technique for brewing something in a certain way, and you're like, oh, never thought about it that way.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
I'm going to try that now.
Yep.
Hey, have you thought about this?
Like, brewing itself is
It's
like
an art.
It is an art, and the thought is straightforward, but there's so many different ways and techniques. Like, it's wild, right? From water chemistry to ingredients to, time of things,
Yeah, fermenting at certain temps.
Oh yeah, you could if you're using a yeast strain, ferment 10 degrees higher, 10 degrees lower, you can in some cases get two completely different beers. Sometimes that's not a good thing at the same time. So like you have to kind of know where you're and I myself, like we have Nick and Nate, our head brewer and assistant brewer, and their knowledge is just like out of this world. Nick's water chemistry. Nate came from Collective Arts, so got a good team. And I have like become basically like okay, let's talk about recipes and let's talk about what's coming up on the horizon. Basically keep the wheels in motion on production and retail and making sure, like a glorified accountant plus a quiz master plus keeping staff happy. All the things that you're like, before you open a business, you're like, oh yeah, whatever, just payroll, you click some buttons and, do this, do that. No, it's so much more. It's so much more. But you get good at it, you get comfortable with it, but then you have to know when you need help. I don't know about you guys, but like delegation, the worst at it. And like I'm getting better at it, but you have to let some things go and let other people take control and do a task, right? Because in my little weird brain of mine, I'm like, okay, I want this done this way, and I'll train it that way. And even on our charcuterie boards, if I see like a few crooked crackers, I'm like, oh no, right? And it's like, Tyler, relax, right?
But look at the amount of tables that are getting serviced promptly, and it's just like boom, everything's getting done.
Yes.
Maybe not to the exact cracker specification you would do, but if you think about it, it's like efficiently running.
Yeah, but at the same time though, because I've been in the last, I'd say 12 months, I've been a lot better at delegating. The staff are now taking things to a level that is like, oh, I never thought about that,
Mm-hmm.
or oh, damn, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
Like take the power and run with it, right? Like we're pretty laid back, so it's like you do things your way. Everyone has a different style of doing things, and it is great. Our staff is like amazing, like it's ridiculous. When you go into a restaurant, and even if the food's great, right, drinks are great, whatever the case is, or you go to like I don't know, a grocery store, whatever, you're going somewhere to buy something, and the products are good, but like if the people and the vibes are like gray,
Yes.
and like dismal,
Yes.
no enthusiasm.
Yes.
It's like, I don't know, I feel weird in my seat. I feel like something's off, right?
Yeah.
And we try our best. And there's a lot of places that do it around here that are great at that too.
There's a place I think you'll know what I'm talking about, but
Sure.
I'm not going to say the name just to keep the peace. Amazing beer.
Yep.
Love the beer. Amazing atmosphere.
Yep.
Stunning place. But they started charging a cover charge
Mm-hmm.
to even enter. And I didn't know this, so I was taking my cousins from Hamilton on a brew tour, and we stopped at this place, and they're like, oh no, it's like $10 to even walk in the door. And I'm like, but we'll spend probably $50 each on beer.
That's huge.
We don't want to pay cover just to walk in. They're like, no, $10. We're like, okay, don't worry about it. So we went on our way to the next one.
Wait, they like denied you?
Yes.
Huh.
You can sit outside, I think, for free.
Okay.
But we were like,
You got to pay for that air
what we were
conditioning.
discussing, it's like the product can be great, but if you're getting wrong vibes, it's like, why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a weird one. And yeah. I'm going to bite my tongue and say that's unfortunate that you received that experience.
Yes.
I get it. Like downtown Toronto,
Yes.
you got like a $1,500 band playing,
Yes.
and you got there's lineups,
You have
covers, sure,
20 staff members,
yeah.
right? Yeah, I get it.
go right ahead, right? Certain situations, I get it, right? But it kind of goes against the Norfolk kind of rural way of hospitality.
Yeah, I don't know. Give me, I wasn't a fan of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And especially, I don't know, when I see people at the door, in my head, I'm like, and I get this from Shoresy, actually. It's bums and seats.
Nice.
Bums and seats.
Bums and seats.
Right? They want people at their hockey games. We need bums and seats, right? So if someone's coming in here, it's like, thank you for giving us a chance
Yeah.
to give you a good experience and for you to support the small local business. Like, it's an opportunity, right? And it sounds a little cliche, but like, it's so true, right? And what I find these days, like, and you may have seen, I saw this on social media, you guys have probably seen it, but it's like, you go to McDonald's and you get a meal of sorts, and they mess up on the order. Then you gotta, you go back in and gotta fix it, or something doesn't taste right, or whatever the case is. And next week you go right back there and you give it another chance, right? And then you give another chance. You go to a small business, and if something doesn't go the way that you want it to, like I've had on the patio, it was really windy. One of our strands of lights came down, hit the glass, or hit the brick wall, shattered onto someone's table. Terrible. We knew the person, but like, you know what I mean? But it was like, oh my God, this is awful.
Broken glass.
Right?
Yeah.
And there's two ways that could go. I'm never coming here again, blah, 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 blah. This is right. Or you do the right thing and try to, oh, geez, I'm so sorry. We'll take care of your bill. Let's move you over here, get this swept up. And they would not let us pay for their stuff, which was really nice.
Oh,
right?
nice.
And that's just the first example that came in my head. But let's just say someone had a beer that they didn't like, right? Or they had food they didn't like, whatever the case is. That I find like it travels like locally. It's like hyper local. It's like, oh, I went here and this is what happened and I'm not going back there. But yet the McDonald's order that just got messed up 3 times in a row, you're still going there. You know what I mean? Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
It's like
I know
that.
what you mean.
It's that concept of 20% of your customers are 80% of your income.
Yep.
So it's like really appease to the 20% of those hardcore customers and fans, and they'll make 80% of roughly.
Yeah.
But this is a concept.
Sure.
It's like the 80-20 rule. And then, but the 80% are maybe 20% of your business. So it's like, but if you're going to appease to any kind of customer base, like appease to that 20% hardcore people who really dig your brand and your beer and things like that. Because they'll just keep coming back all the time.
It's true.
All
It's
the
true.
time.
There's times even like, because, I kind of live there almost, right?
Yeah.
And there's sometimes people I'm like, oh, geez, like this customer's been here this as many times as I have this week, right? And it's like they just love it, right? And it's great. It feels so cool that we could create a spot like that. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Like a second home for people.
I mean, we tell people it's an extension of your living room.
Yeah, that's definitely the feeling I get
Treat it with respect.
I roll up there.
Treat it with respect. Be nice.
Yeah.
Be kind.
Yeah.
And just have a good time, right? Everything needs to be less serious sometimes.
Yeah, don't take life so seriously, everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, grind and do a good job and work hard, but
care.
Yes.
But like, and we're all, I don't know. I'm still like, let the little things go sometimes. Right?
Yeah, you can't control everything.
No.
Even if you want to try to, you'll go insane.
And delegate. Learn to delegate.
Yes. So did you have to learn kind of like I kind of related to like I've been directing for the first time this year with some big teams.
Nice.
And it's my biggest hurdle is just communicating to all the different departments.
Sure.
Which I feel like is the same as a brewery because, as like a 2-3 man band, I'm doing lighting, I'm doing sound, I'm doing editing, and now that I'm directing, it's like there's a guy for lighting, there's a guy for sound, there's a guy for camera. So now I have to try to communicate my vision, what I want to see in the end product to all these individual people.
Yep.
And it's like, how to do the charcuterie board, all these different things. It's like, how do you communicate that? It must be like a huge hurdle.
That's just one thing of like experience of just talking to people a lot. Before the brewery, I was in the automotive business.
Okay.
I was in sales, and I managed a sales department for a General Motors store. And you're always people, right? And so that's one thing I'm pretty proud of, that I am good at getting the point across politely, very detailed, without like confusing people, right? And it's not to like sound salesy or anything, but like, if there's a problem, you got to think of a solution and something pretty, quick, and and figure it out. You know what I mean? Like there's, either you figure it out or you don't. So sink or swim, right?
Yeah,
So
you're putting out fires.
You figure it out, right? So yeah, communication is huge. Is huge.
So that's it. I didn't know your background, but sales would definitely help.
Sales helps,
Yes.
and just finding solutions to problems.
Yeah.
Like it's it can be fun, it can be exhausting, but like when you've filled that need or fixed a problem, it's like hell yeah.
I did that.
I did it, we did it, the team did, whatever the case is, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just one of those things. It's like you can't learn it, I don't think. Like it just happens over time with experience of whatever the case is. Like even in your field as well, right? Like I'm sure after a while of being able to do lighting and to do sound, it's like you get kind of a feeling of how it all works, so you can then communicate it better.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, it is good to know, at least for a brewery, like how to serve, how to
Yes.
pour a beer.
I didn't know how to serve.
Yeah.
I know. You should see when we first opened. I was like, Nick and I are working like 12, 14-hour days, like ramping up. My wife, even Ashley, had to. She was doing insurance Monday through Friday. She took Thursday and Friday off for like using vacation time for like 3 months, and so she'd work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, some Thursdays, and then she'd work at Wishbone Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for like 2 months straight. Nick and I, like again, we're full in production, trying to fill up kegs and fill up the fridge. And then, okay, we open in a few weeks. Okay, sounds good. And then we're like, yeah, okay, I think we need servers soon, I think, right? Like, because it's weird. You're in this thing you're in construction mode. You're building this thing, and you're like, oh, we got to flip the open sign on.
So you started, it was you, your
Yep.
wife, and is Nick the brewmaster?
Nick is the brewmaster.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it was
yeah.
just the three of you.
It was just the three of us. It was just
And COVID.
and COVID. And COVID. You know what? It was. It's almost like if you're in sports and you beat like this high seeded team, you feel like you're kind of indestructible. You know what I mean? COVID was like that for us because it was just the three of us. And then we had a couple local people come on to help serve and then Nick's spouse Val, she it was like, oh my God, we need help, and it's like who? And then Nick's like, oh, Val has some serving experience, but like she's more into like she does like TV show writing and is into like the arts that way, and it's like, you pour a beer and hand it to somebody. Let's go, come on in. And the first day was awful. It was so like in my head, we were so inexperienced. We had coasters with numbers on them, and we would tape them with like packing tape. So we knew that's table 1, that's table 2. And it was humid, it rained, and then it was sunny. Then the coasters were all cloudy and they looked like crap. And I remember there was one guy where his table was half in the patio and half in the tap room. It was right on the transition. And someone was on the patio serving, someone was in the tap room serving. No one got this guy in the middle, right? He did move the table there, I should say, which is a no-no. You always ask the staff to move the tables. Just for all you out there. So moved the table, and it, like 15 minutes went by, and like we're just zooming back and forth, right? And it's like it's one of those things where you're like, okay, I got to make sure I say hi to this guy, right? And you got like 12 beers in your tray. You're trying to, and he stood up and he says, "Is anybody gonna fucking serve me?" And I looked, and I was just like, "Whoa, like this guy's angry." And I said, "I am so sorry. I'm like, no excuses. You know what I mean?" I was like, "Hey, it's our first day. You think the first day excuse would be good enough?
You think?
It's our first day, right? Give us a break, right? Ever in the history." And I'll never forget this guy's face. He was such a jerk, and I've never seen him ever since, so I don't really care. And,
Good riddance. If you're listening, good riddance.
Yeah. I remember you. And then I'm even like, you know what? He's like, I'm like, "Oh, what can I get you?" "No, I don't want anything. You haven't earned my." So I said, "Hey, here's a 6-pack to go. Try the beers at home. And then you can come back. Maybe when we're a little less busy, and we can have a chat, whatnot." And he wouldn't accept it. He wouldn't accept it. And I'm like, "Come, dude, like get out of here, right?"
Yeah.
And like, I'm not gonna say, I don't know, it was that generation of high expectations, we'll just say. And it was like, okay. But then after that, I was like, okay, we got to piss a couple people off on the first shift, right? Like,
You gotta like christen the place in a way.
Exactly. We have lineups at the door, and then so like the next day, we're like, okay, we need to have someone at the door to like guide traffic and seat people.
Yeah,
and it's
like
like,
a hostess.
Yes. A please wait to be seated. And I'm like, oh, that'll make life so much easier.
Yeah.
But then it was like after I don't know, it was like a couple weeks, and we're all working. Like we're open like 10 hours. You're there an hour early to start. You're there 2 hours after to clean. Like, cause I'm all about making sure at the end of the night everything is just sparkling clean. So the next day it's a nice fresh opening. You don't leave, the kitchen dirty after dinner. You clean it up after. So breakfast is easy, right? That's just the way I've always been. And we're all like, okay, we're all so tired, like exhausted. And it's like, yeah, we need double the staff. And this is all during COVID still, mind you, where if you guys remember, right when we opened, they had the color codes, like Norfolk's yellow and Prince Edward County is orange. So you couldn't, if you're like a darker color, like red, orange, yellow, and then green, like greens can talk to each other, yellows can talk to each other. And yellows can talk to greens sometimes, or maybe I can't even remember.
Only on Tuesdays.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it was just like, okay, so like these high COVID areas cannot talk to each other. It's like, okay, I kind of see what they're trying to do. And then it's like, where are you from? And it's just so weird. And then we're taking people's information, and then tables have to be 6 feet apart from each other. We do not have a big space. So imagine our tables have to be 6 feet apart, and we're busy, right? So then it was like, we're new, we don't know the complications if we don't follow rules. What is being jeopardized? Can you lose your business? Is it being enforced? So we did everything as best as we could, because we're new. We didn't want to be like, oh, we're not gonna play by the rules. Like we're not playing that card. There were some times where you just want to close your eyes and just be like, why can't this just be like normal? Like I just, hey, take a seat, be with you in a moment.
What a time to start.
Oh,
Yeah.
and one of the other things too, starting in that time, and like hopefully people aren't getting PTSD while I'm talking about this, but it's like, okay, we got a quote to build our patio with lumber, and then it's time to buy lumber at that point. And it was like
4 times the price.
Yeah. And it was like this, pretty straightforward rectangle, that should have, been well under $10,000.
Yeah, you're buying a 2x4 for $90.
And you're just like, but you have to have a patio, right? You have to have outdoor space at least because of the whole COVID thing. And, having the garage doors open, it's like, air can flow in and out. So it's safer. You know what I mean? But you know what though? I will say though, we went through all of that crap, and we got through it, right? And a lot of businesses did not, right? Which is like awful, right? There's COVID was, it really, like, if you were just kind of running your business nonchalant, doing maybe, the odd time cutting a corner here and there, with COVID happening too, like, I feel like since we were new, we were excited. We wanted to be on top of our game. We were, really focused on doing things well. And I feel like if you weren't doing it well on top of COVID, it was not a good place to be in the restaurant or beer world.
Because I think, at least for restaurants, the margin's low. It's like 8% or something like that, roughly.
Yeah.
And then you cut half capacity, so now you're at 4% margin. And then things don't go well, so now you're at 0.
Yeah. And, they say when you're starting out, like, your first few years, it's tough when you're new to owning a business, because it's, you need to make enough money to pay your staff, and to, one thing is to if you're borrowing money too, you know what I mean? Starting a brewery costs a lot of money. I just, it wasn't just writing a check, here you go.
Wait, so I can't just start one like that?
I mean, you can. I highly advise against it.
With a garbage can in the parking
Yeah,
lot, right?
what's wrong with that?
I mean, if it holds liquid. But yeah, like, you gotta pay bills. You got and then you notice, like, oh shit, we need 100 more kegs. We don't got enough kegs, right? It's like, all right, kegs are like $150 for like nice new kegs, and if you got to get 100 of them, like, right? You start to notice, oh, we need this. This broke because it's new and not working well. So,
high capital starting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So the first year, like, did we make money the first year? No, not at all. Like, you're reinvesting so much into what needs to be right for the future. And then year 2, year 3 rolls around, and it's like, okay, we've sunken in money to this, and okay, we're finally starting to see some returns, now slowly, right? So yeah, it's an expensive industry especially right now, to get into it. If we had to, like, do everything today, we probably wouldn't be able to. Like, just from buying tanks, what's in stainless steel? You have nickel. Where's the nickel? Nickel's, Ukraine. What's Ukraine going through? Oh, geez, there's a war, right? So prices of everything shoot up. So it's a crazy industry right now.
Yeah, not just the social distancing and, like, the whole COVID germ thing, but then supply chain.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And, like, again, it feels like a broken record at this point. Everyone knows everything's more expensive, and you just deal with it. And you know what? Like, if we have to raise a beer price by 50 cents for it to, like, make sense for us, so we can stay alive and we can pay our staff well, and we can reinvest in ourselves to make ourselves better. 96% of customers are like, yeah, do it. If our bill's $32 or $34, we don't care. Like, we want you to be here.
And it goes back to that 20%.
Yep.
Like, when I show up and I see you raise the price, I'm like, I don't care, because I know you and I like you and I want to help you.
And it's love. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Right? It's
like, I'm not bothered by it at all.
Yeah. And, like, I always was at first. I was like, I remember, like, our charcuterie boards went up a little bit because there was, like, free trade agreements with the UK for cheese, because we get, like, fancy cheeses, and then, like, they cut that. Now there's tariffs on cheese, and
really?
And cheese went up way in price, and I'm like, oh my god, like
Has cheese always been fair trade?
and I don't know if it was just like England, if it was the UK, it could just be like the British cheeses, but a lot of, like, the Stiltons, like the old crumbly, there's some local cheeses as well, like what are the cheese places called?
Like
Dover
Guns and
Cheese
Hill?
Yeah, but, like, fromageries, that's what I call them, because it sounds funny, but, like, cheese. There should be a name for it. I'm curious what
Cheeseries?
A cheesery.
Cheesery?
I think that's what they're
Do you
called.
want to look? Ask ChatGPT. We haven't really used that.
It's a good question, right?
What?
Ask Chad.
Chad?
Yeah. Ask him what is a
What do you call
cheese shop?
Cheese manufacturer.
Cheese.
a shop that specializes in selling cheeses? Commonly refers to a cheese shop or a cheese store.
I like
Nothing fun.
cheesery.
Oh no, okay. However, there's more specific and traditional terms as well. Fromagerie
Ooh,
Yes.
fromagerie.
or a cheesemonger.
Cheese.
I've heard of that before.
I like
Oh.
fromagerie.
That's now. I'm not
Sounds
great with
sexy.
some words, but like a monger, I think of a fishmonger. Like
Yeah,
the definition of mongerer. I thought like if you're a fishmonger, you're going out and getting the fish, like you're foraging kind of for fish. Mongerer.
Yeah, this term primarily refers to a person who sells cheese. It is also used to describe the shop where such a person works.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fromagerie.
I'm sticking with fromagerie.
Yeah, that
I
sounds
I
good.
feel like cheesemonger is someone that goes to distance places
Right.
and gets like the best cheese.
Yeah, if I'm gonna go on a cheese tour, I'll be the cheese.
It's like
monger.
they get like the camel's milk and they
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
do something exotic. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So yeah, that happens, right? And so again, price goes up. But like, who? I didn't think I was gonna have to be looking up at cheese tariffs.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But again, the food, it's even when we buy like the nice fancy crackers, 20% of them are broken in the bag, like just the way it is, and then you can't serve a broken cracker. So then like you're automatic 20% loss on crackers. And
So now you're dealing with like geopolitics on your charcuterie board.
I mean,
like-
it's crazy. But like if you don't, there's something like there's like these like hidden things if you don't pay attention to that can slowly sink you. Like just like having like a tiny little pinhole in a ship. You know what I mean? You gotta those
You're
little
like, the ship's floating, it's fine.
It's fine,
So
right? At
ignore
least
it for a
keep
bit,
going.
but-
or a couple years, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
But then it's like, oh, so you gotta look at that stuff. Or, there's what was the term? It was I don't think it was just from this past weekend I heard it, but it was basically like if you aren't gonna focus on something, or if you know something's a problem but you kind of just keep avoiding it, like it's just going to multiply and multiply and multiply, and then eventually you're stuck, or whatever the case is. So I try my best to get ahead of it. I'm listening to podcasts. I'm trying to make like self-betterment. I'm trying to learn as much as I can, for the sake of just being a little bit profitable. Let's just make sure we're on the right side of things, because I don't want something as silly as that. But imagine the cheese tariff. Let's just say there was 10 other things, right? And then you look and you're like, I don't know if we can stay in business, right? So the first couple of years are dicey, especially with COVID, because you don't know much. Like the data you're getting is so tainted, right? It's not normal. So you're trying to base everything off of stuff like that.
Yeah, the market's
right?
in whack.
It's
Yeah.
and
you can't find a baseline.
there is no and the funny thing, we opened right when Ontario reopened. They were like, "All right, guys, we're stopping this," right? I remember that weekend, and we were absolutely packed, and people were having a great time. And it was like, oh, there's a sense of normalcy. And then, like 2 months later, it was like, no, it's all shut down again. It's like, oh.
Yeah, the
And-
next wave comes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I will say, like Waterford and the surrounding area, oh my goodness, what a family, what a group of people that just support like crazy. Like I never would have, like there's people now that I never saw in my life before, and like they're more than friends. They're almost family.
It's that Norfolk spirit.
It is wild.
It's a real thing.
Yeah.
I have a hard time describing to people. They're like, why did you? Because I'm from Hamilton, born and raised, and I work in the film industry. So it's in my best interest to live in Toronto and work there.
Yeah.
But I love it here so much.
It's a nice spot.
Yeah.
And this is another side tangent. Hamilton, you said, right?
Hamilton, yeah.
I went to Cowabunga Pizza for the first time.
Okay, I'm not familiar with it.
So they won a competition for the world's best cheese slice.
Okay, I read about this. This was in Hamilton?
This is in Hamilton.
Oh, I thought it was Toronto.
Hamilton, Cowabunga Pizza. And, this is not a paid advertisement. I just like good pie.
So
right?
I did read about this place.
And I
Yeah.
tell you, it's like thin but like crispy, no flop on it, and it is just so good. And I was like, this is the best like retail pizza experience. Not even just like the pizza, the experience was really good. Great beer list as well. I'm like, this place, it is they're hitting everything.
Tyler,
right?
we got to go together around Hamilton. I got some spots I want to show you.
That would be great. I'm getting better with Hamilton. It's big.
Yes.
It is, and there are areas that, I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Like sad in some spots, and then like a block away, you're like, this is stunning.
Yeah.
It's
changed a lot.
Yeah.
Because I've been here for 8 years, maybe somewhere around there. But when I left, like the food culture was there, but it's not what it was today.
Okay.
Today, it's insane. Like I would say, it's almost quadrupled in size of just the variety of what you can get now.
Well, it sounds like a good day, a little day trip, maybe.
Yeah. And there's a lot of breweries now.
I know all the breweries, which is great. There's some great beer in Hamilton.
Yes.
Great beer.
Yes.
So, yeah. But yeah, this side.
Cowabunga.
Cowabunga.
I've never heard of it.
I got to bring you to My Pie. Have you heard of My Pie?
So, yes. So there was the whole discussion about My Pie while we were at Cowabunga.
Okay.
And I heard it's phenomenal as well. And that's Detroit style pizza?
I would say, what is Detroit style pizza? I would more relate it to like a Chicago. It's deep.
Well, I've heard, and I haven't had My Pie, but the cheese like can even go on first, and which creates, and then the dough goes on top. So you get like this.
Yes.
This
What?
like, yeah.
So you pull the slice out, and the cheese is like coming off of the bread on the outside of it and upwards. So you got like these crust. It's almost like when you cook a grilled cheese. You ever cook a grilled cheese and then put cheese down on the outside of the bread?
Never.
Try that.
Okay.
Try that.
Yeah.
You ever had like a Parmesan chip? Like
no.
Cooked cheese?
Or just or if you have, or even more simple, you're doing a grilled cheese, some cheese spills out on the pan, and you have like a little
the
crusty cheese.
yeah.
It's like that, but on that whole outside of the pizza.
That sounds incredible.
And then I relate it to Chicago. It's deep dish, so it's like square and it's deep and it's like thick. And it looks like a nightclub. It's just blacked out. It's on Barton, which is a bit of a sketchy area in Hamilton.
Okay.
But then you go in and you're like, where? It's like you get teleported to like a Polynesian pizzeria. And the's like tiki bars.
That's the tiki.
Yes.
That's the tiki.
There's tropical music playing. You can get all these like crazy tropical like Polynesian Hawaiian drinks, and they come out in the Easter Island head, and there's a sparkler, and then the sugar cubes on fire, and like you're like, where am I?
I mean, but talk about an experience, right?
Yeah.
Like in these days, just selling good pizza isn't enough. Just having good beer isn't enough. You need to have a spin. You need to have,
like trivia night.
Like trivia night. Is this a segue into trivia?
Yeah, before we get into trivia, before these beers get too cold, I have a thing I want to do with you.
Sure.
I would like to blindfold you.
Okay.
And we're going to pour your beers in no particular order.
Sure.
And I want to see if you can guess which is which.
Let's do it.
You want to do it?
Yeah.
Okay.
That sounds good.
I'm so excited.
And this was Abby's idea. She's a producer that I met.
Okay.
Just shout out to Abby. Was not my idea, and I was like, this is genius.
Yeah, let's do. I saw this little satin piece of fabric on the table, and I was like, and I'm on a couch, and I was like, what's going on here, guys? So this is.
Well, I was like,
it's a relief to know what the beer is for.
Yeah. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. I have to joke. So yeah, let's do it.
Okay. All right. So you might have to take your headphones off to put the blindfold on, but you could put your glass down.
All right.
And then once the blindfold's on, I'm gonna do a little mix, and then we're gonna pour the beers and see if you can figure it out. What's that? Okay. Yeah. No problem.
Is there a certain way? I'm just making.
I think maybe that's I think that's right.
Nose, maybe?
I don't really know. It was like a cheap travel one I bought.
Well, you know what?
Okay.
It works.
We all set? Okay, everybody. I'm just gonna pour these beers. Bear with me. Okay. All right.
I'm not peeking. I'm just
No
getting
peeking.
comfortable. I'm just getting comfortable. There's straps here, over the ear, under the ear. Okay, that's better. That would be a crazy thing if I could also do it by smell.
Ooh,
That would be.
What
That's actually hard.
What if we try smell and then if you want to go for taste, if we can't figure it out, then
Sure.
we'll go with the taste.
Especially with like, the kitty cat hanging around. My allergies are okay, but I think we'll be okay here.
I'm just gonna move the mic so people can hear you. There we go.
And the funny thing is you bought these beers, whatever. So I glanced. I don't even really remember what was on the table. I wasn't really paying attention.
Nice. I wasn't sure if you would, but I'm like, I mean, even if you did, what beer's on the table, but you don't know where I'm gonna pour them. So.
No, not at all.
It would be a little more difficult. Okay, I have the cans in front of the beers.
Okay.
I'm just gonna wait for Drew. Okay, everybody. So the beers are poured. I have the cans in front of each of them. And Drew, if you don't mind handing him the first one because he's blindfolded and can't see anything.
All right, let's do
Or
this.
I could probably do it.
Yeah.
Here, I'll get the first one and you get the last. I'll get first two, you get last two.
Okay.
All right, so here's the first one.
Perfect. Yeah, got it. Gonna do a little smell here.
Okay. Tyler was saying he wants to see if he can do it just based on smell. And if not, if he can't get it, then taste.
So I smell some tartness, some acidity, a little bit of pineapple. I'm going crown fruit for this one.
That is correct.
Okay. I'm gonna take a sip because I really like this beer.
Yes. I had this the other day. This is a low percentage too, right?
3.8%.
So,
It's so
it was
refreshing.
great. I was DD and I wanted another beer, and I was like, I know it's the limit's much lower now, and then you had this beautiful 3 point. What is it?
3.8.
It's perfect.
3.8, and
Yes.
that's a beautiful thing about low ABV beers. You can have an extra one.
Yeah.
and
It's
be
like
okay.
a free beer.
Exactly.
Free beer.
Exactly.
Free beer for your
Essentially.
health.
All right. So
You
what
ready
do we
for the
got
next one?
Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
It's so awkward. Pass me the beer. Perfect. There we go. Okay.
All right, we're on to the next beer.
Do you want to hold it up?
Yeah, sure. Here, I got it. Oh, you got it.
So I can tell it's a hoppy brand. Hops are so tough without seeing it because either it's going to be like a little hazy, kind of orange juicy looking, or it's going to have more of that like kind of crystal clear, kind of coppery note to it. Oh, hops are tough. I'm going to go Spyglass for this one.
That is correct.
Okay.
No way.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, Spyglass.
Good stuff.
That smells
absolutely.
good.
Got the table there. Okay.
Here, I
2
can
for
kinda
2.
Feel there. Okay.
Next one's coming in.
Perfect. Oh, a little bit of a little straight glass here.
Okay, this is beer number 3.
This one's a little bit harder, I'm not going to lie. I think this might be a West Coast IPA. I'm getting kind of some like deeper, like woody berry notes.
Okay. Think you might be on the right track.
I want to say this is it's either Big Surf or the Worm. And we haven't had Big Surf in cans in 3 weeks, so I'm going to say it's the Worm.
Oh my
Yeah?
goodness! Yeah, no way.
That is correct.
Oh,
Bit of a technicality.
Nicely
there,
done. Nicely done.
Thank you very much. Put this back here. There we go. Good.
Okay.
And what's the last one? I'm trying to. We have a lot of beers right now. So
Okay, and this is the last beer.
Oh, Timberline Light Lager. No. Wait. There was 4 total, right?
4 total.
This is the 4th. Oh,
This is the
I
4th.
feel like I'm. No, it's too citrusy. Is this back to the? Is this? Did you give me the same beer as before?
No.
Oh. This I feel like I'm back at like hoppy again.
Okay, he's good. Do you want some help?
Sure.
I did trick you.
Okay. Yeah, or is this a different beer? I have to taste this one.
Yeah, go for it. He's good.
It is a Wishbone product.
Incorrect.
I mean, is it a Wishbone product?
No, it's not.
Because it's
Okay, this was Ashley's idea.
Okay, hold on though. Hold on though.
And I won't tell.
Oh, he's still going for it.
All right.
Is this okay? Let me ask a geography question.
Yes.
Is it technically in Norfolk County?
No.
Is this in Haldeman County?
No.
Oh man.
I don't even know where that beer is from.
So I'm gonna say.
This was Ashley's idea. She's
Actually, you know what? This does kind of taste like a Flux beer a little bit.
like, okay.
It.
I see where you're getting at.
Like I get some of like it's like a pale ale, a hazy pale ale, maybe of sorts.
Yeah, it is hazy.
Yeah. Hazy IPA. Like it's something. It's very well balanced. You know what? I'm good, but I'm not that good.
You throwing in the towel?
I'm gonna throw in the towel. I'm gonna peek at just the beer though, not look at
Okay.
any cans.
All right.
Maybe we'll give him the brand name and see if he can get the beer.
Yeah.
Sure.
So it's Collective Arts.
Collective Arts. Okay. So
This is my favorite summer beer to drink.
you know what's crazy? My eyes are still
That's okay.
closed.
Yeah, you're good. This was my homage to Hamilton.
I got like Ransack the Universe stuck in my head, but yeah, I Life in the Clouds. Life in the
Yeah,
Clouds.
there it is.
Life in the Clouds. No, I
Nice.
read it. I was like, what is their main like
Yeah.
IPA called?
So I had
Yeah.
Timber up there, and then I had Life in the Clouds on the ground, and then when you put the blindfold on, I swapped them.
I like that because at first I was like
Yeah.
I knew Timberline was in the selection. I will say that. So you did get me there, and I was a little bit fast forwarded, but yeah, it's a good beer. It's a good beer.
Yeah. Because I was just gonna do the 4, and I was like, oh, you'll probably get these, which you did. You got every one.
Very well.
And then Ashley's like, hey, you know, it'd be funny on the 4th one, throw him one that's not his, and see if he'll notice. First of all, you're like, this. I don't think this is mine.
Well, and that's where I got a little confused. But I think if you can do things by smell, that's like the ultimate test.
Yes, which you nailed all of your own. I
Yeah,
think,
that was
based off
impressive.
of
Yeah,
smell.
you got
That
it
was-
before you even tasted it.
Well, we even do we do sensory at the brewery, so we're smelling beer all the time from different stages of the
this one
process
off.
of like fermentation, right? So
What's the worm?
the Worm's a West Coast IPA.
Oh, that's a 7.4.
yeah,
Well, I've had a day.
and it's yeah, they're tasty. The Crown Fruit, I think, is this one. Yeah, which I'm having.
And
Thank
then
you. That was fun.
yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, wow. That was
I thought so.
I had a lot of fun. I was so excited. When you told me you were going to do that, I'm like, yes.
And none of it was my idea. I can't take the credit.
I mean, Ashes, she's smart. She's smart.
The curveball was Ash, and then the whole idea was Abby. She's Waterford way. So
Yeah, Abby.
yeah, shout out to Abby.
Yeah,
Ooh, I like
thanks,
that.
Abby.
Abby Boatwright is
Okay,
her last
yep.
name. Do you know Abby Boatwright?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
I know of like we know each other,
Okay.
but not like friends,
She's been
friends.
producing some projects I've been working on. So
Cool.
I was kind of working with her, and I was like, oh, I'm having Tyler on from Wishbone, and I'm trying to. I don't know what to do. Like, I don't want to make a cocktail because I feel like I need to drink his beer, but I don't want to taint his beer by making the beer into a cocktail. She's like, well, why don't you do a blindfold him for a sampling? I was like,
That's great.
that is genius.
And remember, there is no like you can do beer cocktails. You can we mix jam band and mimosa and call it a jamosa.
Oh,
Right. Like there's some
Do we have some open right now? We don't.
there's some hidden menus items.
I think there's
Hidden menu items?
Well, the thing is, we have 4 cans open now, so
True.
Kind of
Sure,
like
can-
McDonald's hidden menu. Like,
Yeah, like you can.
if I go there enough, I'll learn the hidden menu.
Yeah. Now, like we won't make a black and tan, for example.
Okay.
Which is like you have like the light beer, light pale colored beer floating on top of a dark beer. Like just because the gravities, the alcohol or the sugar contents are different, you can actually make like a layer. Called a black and tan. We have to have the right beers out to do that.
Okay.
Right now, we actually do have the right beers out, but because you need like it depends what way you want, like a super heavy like dark beer or like a super light dark beer, and then you just have to make sure the pale one is either light or heavy. They just have to be like opposites.
I never thought to mix because I thought I'd be hurting feelings.
You
It's
know-
like going to a chef and like, hey, do you have ketchup? You know?
And you know what? Like there's let's have fun, people. Like yes, it's like this is the beer that we created and was intentional doing this.
Yeah, and
But there's nothing wrong with just trying stuff. Who cares?
Getting a little
Stop being
goofy.
so
I
serious,
want to
people.
do. Yes, we were just talking about that.
Yeah.
I need to take my own advice.
Yeah, get a little silly sometimes.
Mix some beer up.
Yeah,
them up.
now like there's some terrible choices of mixes that you'll be
Yes.
like, this was not. Now you have like 2 half beers wasted.
Yeah.
Right. So, but the thing, like, just think about what would pair, right? What would pair nicely? Like, even like a beer mosa, Timberline and mimosa, right? It's like more of like a light, sparkly, prickly little mimosa taste, right? But it's instead of 7.5%, it's a little lighter, right? So there's different ways, right? So
Do you have a beer choice? Preference?
my answer to that is whatever one's in my glass.
Okay.
And the reason why is like unless it gets served to me and I was like, I want to pick that. But if I deliberately pick a beer, whether it's ours or someone else's, it's like I'm in the mood for it. So, sometimes I'm in the mood for great mic adjustment, yeah. So sometimes I'm in the mood for certain things, like on a hot summer day, the classic light beer, fruited sour beer, something a little sweet or something kind of tart and refreshing, yeah. But then, if it's minus 20 out, maybe I just want to take 45 minutes and sip on a big, heavy stout.
Yes.
It's all just what you're feeling.
My taste in beer is very like eclectic. I like Guinness. Like I like really dark, rich beers.
One of the best beers in the world.
Yeah, I like high percentage ones, like 10% really dark ones. Like even like it's almost like you're drinking a maple syrup at time.
Yep.
And then I can drink a light 3.8 fruity beer. Recently I've been into sours. Before I was into like the milkshake IPAs,
Yep.
which is made with like lactose and
Lactose,
stuff.
yeah.
So like I'm all over the place.
But that's the beautiful thing about craft beer, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna get everything. And there was a brewery over the weekend we were at in Hamilton poured a beer. It was so thick and viscous. They posted it at 11.9%, which is the
It's like a wine.
well. Here's the funny part. That's the legal limit you're allowed to post on a label,
What is it?
right? 11.9
11.9.
for beer.
Okay.
This thing was 16%.
Because then you're getting into like a malt liquor.
Exactly,
Yeah.
which is you're not allowed to do, right? So that's why I have to name the brewery.
Unless you're a
nameless.
distillery.
Unless you're a
And
distillery.
there's a lot of different rules.
Yes. Rules that include having, like your facility has to have some form of like bomb proofing almost, because things can't explode.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because when you're making 40 proof alcohol, like
Yeah.
It could explode.
well, you can light vodka on fire,
Yeah.
So if it's compressed in a tank,
Yep.
boom.
Yep. And even like if you have like grain dust.
Catch on fire.
That can combust just the dust. And that is if you YouTube like flour factory on fire.
There was a silo in Waterford a couple years ago that was on fire
And
just because of the pressure,
yeah, yep.
just friction.
It doesn't take much. So yeah, there are a lot of things that you got to be careful with. And this is why some of the regulations and policies are good to protect people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right? Makes sense, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I digress.
Yes. Those are good.
Yeah.
Does that mean Flying Monkey, are they a distillery? Because I think they have like some quad beer that's quite high.
They have like triple IPAs, but I don't know what the percentage is.
They'll have a quad. So again, they'll post 11.9 on it.
That's what they'll post.
That's what they'll, and maybe it is, right? I don't have the brew sheet or the recipe logs. I can't tell. But we're gonna assume what's on the label is factual. But like this one I had over the weekend, it poured out again like that. Not even like maple, like honey. It was so thick. It was dark. It was so sweet that I had one sip and was like, how can people drink this, right? But then there's a guy beside me who's crushing it. I'm
Yeah.
like, hey, different palates, different. I do not like sweet beers. Wishbone beers are never sweet. Like there will be fruit and there will be, it might be sweet for a little bit, then it will dry out nicely, like a balance. I'm all about balance. You know, if you have something that's one way, you got to balance it with the other way. You know what I mean? Because that's why I think our beers are very palatable. Anyone you drink, whether it's your not your favorite style, you'd be like, yeah, you know what? Like I didn't think I'd like this, but it's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
And that's what we do very well. We like focus on that.
I see a very big similarity, and I hope that you take this as a compliment. You, Concession, and Flux. Not that I have a preference, but I love you three. You guys are like not afraid to experiment, but then you also have your staple beers that are like these perfectly balanced beers. But then you throw one out, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like the pineapple cran fruit. And I'm like, this is sick.
Yeah. I
just like you're not afraid to just I don't know, try some shit out.
And that's the fun part about craft beer. It's the, it's what's out, what hasn't been used. Like there's at the conference we went to, there was a thing on foraging, about foraging sumac and foraging different types of even like root vegetables and like ginger.
Yeah, even the it was Charlottesville. They used what's that local? It's kind of like a papaya. Do you know what I'm talking about?
So yes, it's
a pawpaw.
Yeah, pawpaw fruit. I had quince fruit in my head. Pawpaw fruit.
So they were making like a pawpaw beer, and it was great.
Yep, and like it's there's a lot of neat. And it's mainly fruits, but even vegetables as well that you can, like there's a lot of sugar on some veggies, right?
Mm-hmm. Carrots.
And yeah, carrot. Like why can't you make a carrot cake blonde ale?
Yeah.
What's stopping you?
Yeah,
right? Nothing's stopping. There's no rules. Like, you have to make sure you're sourcing the right ingredients and stuff, because that's where one gray area is, where those interesting ingredients, there's, we can kind of use what we want. We have the license. We have to make the right educated decision on what goes in the product that is safe and healthy, whatever that means, really, right? But making sure it is good for the retail and for consumers.
So what makes beer? Is there a criteria? Because I know you also make seltzers, but a seltzer is not a beer.
Correct. Yeah.
But it's made in a similar process.
Yeah, it's how you get your sugars.
Okay.
So
beer. What is a traditional beer?
Yeah, so beer's like barley.
Okay.
Two row barley. You got maybe some wheat, some oats. The barley, things can be malted, so you get like deeper, rich caramelization to get darker beers.
And malted means you're toasting these things?
Yeah, so they come toasted from like a maltster.
Okay.
So they basically, the grain goes from the farmer to a maltster, and then goes to like a facility, like a big supplier that brewers can then buy from, right?
Okay.
Hops are kind of similar in that way as well, but yeah, so that's beer. You're using grain, right? Now and there's a word for it. Jeff at Concession's gonna yell at me. It's starts with an S.
I'm gonna tag them.
They're like saccharide type grains or something.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways.
Drew will look it up.
Yeah.
What am I looking at?
The type of I don't know if it's going to give you a specific enough answer, because the type of grain to make beer, and then it starts with an S.
He'll find it.
But yeah, so there's that. But seltzers, on the other hand, are made with corn sugar.
So it's sugar, no
Sugar.
grain.
Well, corn is technically a grain. That's why we can make it, because we're a brewery. We can only use grains.
Corn is a grain?
Corn's considered a grain. Yeah, corn's considered a grain. So we get dextrose, which is corn sugar.
Yes.
And we basically make a strong, sweet base, ferment it with a yeast strain that is kind of like a sparkling wine type of yeast, if you will. And then we'll blend it with whatever fruits or purees or juices, whatever we're using. And, we'll do like a kind of like a 10% base beer and blend it with whatever we're blending to get that percentage down.
So as long as you're not going above that, is it 11.9?
11.9.
You're not a distillery.
Correct.
Yes.
And the thing is, like the equipment's different. You're like, to be a distillery, like you're getting vapors. Like it's a whole other equipment. And the nice thing with distilleries, to my knowledge, is that you don't really need a whole lot of like refrigeration, because like you're storing things in barrels.
Yes.
Or you're putting vodka or gin or whatever it may be in just bottles and just leaving them out. So it's one benefit, you don't need as much refrigeration.
Okay.
With beer, temperature's everything.
Yes. Because I know. Sorry, did you find something, Drew?
Sorghum. Is that it?
No, I think that's a type of
Cereal grain.
cereal grain. Yes, that is not native to this area. There's actually some, like in Africa, South America, there's some grains kind of like barley up here that you can use down there. I can't remember them all, if it's like bulgur, like different types of grains that, as long as you can extract sugar from it and there's enough like good proteins and nutrients to be able to ferment it, have happy yeast, you can really again, this is why craft beer is amazing. There's like, they say with smell and taste, with senses, like there's over 20,000 points of sensory. With wine, I love wine, huge, like a nice red love wine. But you're like in like the 1,000 mark, maybe even less than that. But it's beer can be very, very complex because there's just more variables to deal with.
Are there sommeliers in beer?
Yeah, so there's like cicerones, which is basically the same kind of thing, but there's like a course you take and everything. And the one thing I will say is wine, you have all these different regions in the world with grapes, and that can vary from farm to farm, let alone country to country. So on a worldwide level, but like your taste and sensory can only go so much. You have to train your palate. You have to. It's all experience and practice, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know one of my Devlin's great restaurant, Phyllis, is their sommelier, and I love it whenever we ever go there for dinner. It's like what's going to pair well with this, and she always brings out the most magical pairing, and it's great. So when drink is paired with food properly, the experience is just 10 times better.
Yeah, I know the basics. It's like sweet, spicy, as far as wine goes. Like if you have a sweet Riesling, something spicy.
Yep.
White wine, generally like white meats, fish, chicken.
Yep.
And then, red meat, red wine. It's kind of how I base it.
Yeah, and that's fine. You know what I mean? Like, and like
with my limited knowledge.
Yeah. And there's I find like IPAs pair well with burgers.
Oh.
So you get like that hoppy kind of citrusy note with that kind of greasy burger.
Okay.
Great combination. But the thing with beer is, again, it's what you want. You know what I mean? It's a lot of it's personal preference, but when you can find the magical pairing that is generally like, I don't know, like there's the obvious ones, but like you have a stout with like a nice like a cake or like a chocolate cake. Like there's dessert stuff matching the sweetness.
I like to go to like an English pub and get like a steak pie or a French onion. I get a Guinness.
Yeah. Oh, like that is one of the Guinness. I love Guinness. And bucket list. I haven't been to the.
I drank my last one the other day. I would have poured you one.
That's okay. Well, the one thing I like is when you go to like an old pub.
Yeah.
And Nick and I were talking about this, our brewer, a while ago, and you should clean your beer lines, every couple weeks, right? Just you run cleaner through them stuff. But something about Guinness, like I don't want that line to be ever clean.
Ever.
Like
it's like a cast iron pan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I kind of want, like, is there a little bit of like, I don't want to say funk, that's not the right word, but there's just like this, like the beer line is even like stained dark. Like it's just, that's the Guinness line. I want it to just be au naturel, the way, so it's a little bit different every place that you go.
Yeah. Like if I had to fill a hot tub up with a beer,
Yeah.
it would be Guinness.
Yeah. I
Interesting
like I'm
decision.
there's a few items there that are a little bothersome, but in a general easy way, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
if you had to bathe in a beer,
If I had to bathe in a beer, that's a good question.
I would pick Guinness personally.
I guess that makes sense for some reason.
It's right.
It doesn't seem sticky. Seems relaxing.
Like if I could like, I don't know, have like a bodysuit on and like a super clean. I'm not like a germaphobe or anything, but like yeah, inside I'm thinking like a big tank of beer that's like, perfectly sanitary and whatnot.
Yes.
But in a hot tub, like if it's like, hey, I got like 3 weeks left in my life, and I just gonna fill a tub and just guzzle and have a good time.
Yeah, are we
Yeah.
guzzling it? Is that a thing or just bathing?
Well, you gotta have the jets going. I wonder if you get like the foam.
Yeah, maybe not heat it
Oh.
up, just regular. Maybe even
Regular-
chill it so it's
a
cold
cold tub.
Guinness.
Yeah.
But
Cold
you know,
tub.
I have
jacuzzi.
one of those. I'm working
Set
on
the
one.
temp low.
Maybe we should fill one with Guinness and
We can
do
try.
a Guinness ice plunge.
Here we go.
That sounds great. Now
We have the technology.
the cost, like we could do, you got a 2,000 liter tub. Now you're looking at
Yeah.
4,000 cans of Guinness.
Or like yeah,
You
like
know.
we would need a couple kegs, I would assume.
We would need a lot of kegs, right? You would need, probably like 100 kegs.
To fill a tub.
Well, if 10 kegs, is
How
okay,
how
maybe
much
not
how much
that
does a keg hold?
Well, you're 50 liters.
50
right?
liters,
So,
okay.
but there's smaller kegs, there's bigger.
What's
kegs,
your
so
what's your
I have a 150 gallon stock tank.
150 gallon stock?
So that's
tank.
all we need, 150 gallons.
Like, do you think I can't just gallon it all of a sudden?
I can't do that conversion.
Right?
Ask Chad.
I
Chad.
appreciate it, but
How many liters?
How many liters in 150 gallons?
Should be an easy one. You shouldn't have to analyze. 150 gallons is approximately 567 liters.
well, that's not too bad. So
okay.
11 kegs or so.
Okay.
That's
11
not
kegs?
too bad,
All right.
Cheap as chips.
I think we're onto something.
right? You got to get the beer out of the keg
Yes.
nicely, because
Yes.
without the foam.
Now,
There's some
would we
variables.
fill the tub halfway to the harp, wait, and then top it up like a real Guinness?
Oh,
You see what I'm saying?
oh.
Are we gonna do it properly?
Well, is this a clear vessel?
It is a galvanized steel.
Oh, I
stock
feel like we
tank.
would need to buy a glass or like a glass
If
one.
it was clear, yeah, so we
Yeah.
could see
See
the
see
cloudy
that head.
formation in the headphone. Yeah, exactly. This sounds like a good bucket list, no pun
Yeah.
intended, a tub list item. This could be something.
Could be.
Right?
Shout out to Guinness,
Guinness. Thank
sponsor
you.
us
Thank you.
so we can fill a tub.
And do you know some of the Guinness history?
A little bit,
So, and I can't remember. All
and
the
I know it's
numbers and
very
dates.
dependent on the water that they use. It like if they use any other water, it's not gonna be Guinness.
Oh yeah, water is so important.
Yeah.
Because I think they're check on this. Is it 1788?
It's so old.
What's the question?
When Guinness was founded.
Did you try the coffee one that came out in March?
Yeah.
What did you think?
It was decent.
I loved it.
Yeah, it was decent. Yeah, it
I
was
loved
good.
it.
1758.
58.
By
Wow.
Arthur Guinness. He signed a. Do you have you go?
Well, I can't remember the exact term, but they signed a lease, and anyway, go ahead.
He signed Arthur Guinness signed a 9,000-year lease for the St. James Gate
What?
Brewery in Dublin, Ireland on December 31st, 1759.
9,000.
How is that even legal?
Wait, at least for what?
So like for the factory, for like the production facility, and from what I think is see, there's updated news, and I can't remember how it went exactly, but I know they had to like expand, obviously, and I'm not sure like how valid everything is from like the original facility to the expansion, like the prices and stuff, but just the fact that they're like, all right, we're here forever, like we're making this like just the
Commitment.
the nerds of steel to just be like, this is a generational
They're like
business.
the
Yeah.
beer Vatican.
Right at the start. Right
Yeah.
at the start. I wonder what his previous knowledge was. Like, was he in the parking lot pouring beer out of a dumpster for a bit?
I mean, I that long ago, it wouldn't be far off. You know, like you.
That's how they started, actually.
You have like cask or barrels, and you're trying to ferment, and beer was ale was terrible.
Yeah. What's your history on? Like, do you know much about beer history? Like, where did it even come from? Who invented it?
If I'm not mistaken, it was well, monks. They
Okay.
say monks were the original creators of I don't know, the original fermentation of beer.
Okay.
And yeah, and the history goes from there. But there's other sort, when stuff's that old, there's mixed stories, right?
It's all from person to person.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But
telephone.
but that's why there's some famous breweries like Monkish Brewing. There's a lot of breweries with monk in the name, and it's cool. The beer history is pretty neat.
You have to minimize the
brought
window. It's
the-
really big. I hiked the Inca Trail in Peru,
Oh,
and they have, now that I know that corn is grain, so maybe they were the first, but they have this purple beer that they use this purple corn for. And so if you go to restaurants in Cusco or Lima, it's fine. You can order and it's purple and it tastes like a beer. It's based on corn. But on the Inca Trail, they pretty much have these rain barrels of just this purple corn just sitting and fermenting, and all the porters stop and just take whatever they have and just start drinking it. And they were like, no, don't touch that. Like, only they can drink that because
traditional.
it'll fuck you up.
Oh yes, from a microbiome level.
Yes,
Yeah,
they're
yeah, yeah.
they're so used to drinking just this fermented bucket of corn that they're fine. But they're
your
like,
gut
if you
would
were to
just
do
be
that,
like,
you would get
"Ah."
extremely sick.
Yeah, and there's corn's really neat because there's white corn that a lot of indigenous communities have, even around here. There's the purple corn, sweet corn. Corn's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool, and there's so many.
There's
I feel like we just cash crop the one. Well, it's either cow corn or sweet corn.
right. Yeah, and that's from readily available, right? But purple corn, like that would be something that I would like. All right, let's get a few.
Do you mind
bags.
pulling it up? Purple,
Purple corn?
Peru purple beer, purple corn beer.
Purple Peru corn beer.
Yeah, it's and it's like, I would say at least the carbonation is more similar to like a Guinness, like very fine,
And they probably just
almost like fuzzy.
you can use the natural fermentation. It's going to release gases, but if you trap that gas, it'll carbonate the beer naturally.
Yeah, and they top it sometimes. I don't know if it's with egg white or something, but yeah, that's it though. It just looks like beet juice essentially.
That's wild. And look at the picture of that husk and everything, kind of middle bottom there, like just how beautiful that looks. Yeah.
That one?
Yeah, look how rich that
Look how
is.
stunning that is.
Does look thick.
But and
Wow.
and you know what though? Think about it though. You're especially back then, even still.
Can you find
now,
the name of it? Sorry. Go to the regular page.
You use what's around you, right? Like you can't just like order in barley from Canada,
Right.
100 years ago.
Chicha Moranda.
Yeah, chicha.
Chicha.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, so if you go to Peru and you ask for chicha, they'll just slide you this purple-looking beer, corn-based beer.
What does it taste like?
It's sweet. It's the last time I went was 2019, so it's been a while.
So even that one there was really cool because it's brewed with purple corn. They age it with pineapple, cinnamon, and clove in bourbon barrels for 9 months. Like that sounds wild. And, this is I'm getting some inspiration.
I was gonna
here.
say,
Yeah,
you
you
look
want
like your
chicha
wheels
beer?
are turning.
Yeah, like I whenever
Ooh.
there's something new and fun, it would be like it would be an ingredient amongst other ingredients. But like, why not do like a regular beer, like just like a lager, something simple, but have a certain percentage of the mash, like where we extract all the sugars
corn?
out. Well, sweet, like you can use corn for like cream ales and stuff, right? But no, like let's import some purple corn.
I have a name for you.
Oh,
The Drew Brew.
the Drew Brew.
Oh,
The Drew Brew. Holy.
Now you have
Because
to.
we conceptualized it on the Just Drew podcast.
I
so.
mean, there could be some collaboration
Oh.
involved in here.
I don't
it can be
know.
all three of our faces on it.
I mean, that's some animated, goofy stuff. I like it.
Pretty cool.
Okay, let's
not take life seriously. Remember you said that.
No, yeah. I think the big thing is where the hell can I get purple corn from? You know
We'll
what?
find it.
everything is available these days, almost in like a scary way. Like, I don't know, you look at like Amazon, click it next day there, it's
Facebook
here,
Marketplace.
right? Someone has purple corn, but I'd want to get it from like the source, right? It's sometimes you aren't even allowed to. So I'll do some research and we'll get back to you on
Circle
this.
back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Make some Norfolk County chicha.
We should open the first cans here.
Ooh.
Getting some butterflies, guys.
I like this
Yeah.
chemistry
Excitement.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
Oh. Like I'm thinking of different adjuncts.
So excited.
In my head I'm thinking like purple. Like, I don't know, can we do something that's like dessert or cocktail driven?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the
you could make it as
flowing.
like a standalone beer, but you could also double it as a cocktail mixer.
Oh yeah, you can.
Yeah.
You can.
Because it's got that beautiful, especially if you keep it like a purple hue.
Yeah, that's the key. It's easy to make something like that look brown.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful with that. But yeah, I'm liking the just like there's that that pea flower that also has purple. There's that one gin that they use some of that pea flower. Is that Empress gin? Where the liquid turns purple.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I do not.
Look this up. Empress Gin. I think he's right.
Yeah.
It's only when you add water to it.
Acidity, that's what it is. You need that acidity.
Yeah, and then
So
it changes
lime.
color.
Yes, you add lime or
So it's
purple. There we go.
Well, Drew, what did you have? We had that black vodka. How was that black?
Why is Empress Gin purple? The first googly question at the bottom there. Butterfly pea blossom.
oh, there you go. You were right.
It sounds very pretty as well. Butterfly pea blossom.
Say 1908. It's distinct indigo hue.
Yeah, so they obviously add a little bit of acidity and get that beautiful color. It is a stunning color.
Oh, pet blossom imbues the gin with a earthy, nice. Okay, okay, interesting.
Traditional
I need
citrus
to,
notes.
I think I
There
need
we
to pick
go.
this up.
Yeah,
Pigmentation.
yeah.
Oh,
For the cocktail list.
oh, okay.
Do you know why your vodka was black? Do you think there's a cool story, or do you think they just added?
I think it brews black. So I had that Batman, my Tyrell.
Yep.
He was the previous one. I was like, I need to make a cocktail that's black. So I was like Googling stuff, and I found out there is a black vodka you can buy.
Really? It must be infused with charcoal or something.
It's
That's
not.
what I'm curious about.
So I read the back, it says nothing but I'll let you read it after.
Yeah.
I forget, but it's I think it's the process in which they make it. It was what makes it black.
Okay.
So it's not an additive, it's a process.
Really? Eh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And there's a couple different brands.
No
but
octopus ink or anything like that.
No.
I wish
squid
it
ink.
did. I wish it did.
Yeah. So we made him this black cocktail. So it was we
That's
did
wild.
black vodka, blue curacao,
Yep.
and a raspberry. It's a French liqueur.
It's tasty.
So it looks black, but
Sure.
it's fruity.
That's pretty cool.
It is technically a martini
Okay.
in a
Yep.
way, but
Yep.
yeah,
I mean, that sounds delicious.
it was really good.
It was good.
It's fun finding these new. It's neat finding these different ingredients out there that people don't necessarily know about, or you don't know about them, right? And it's fun to delve into it. That's what keeps us breweries like going and excited.
Yeah, and
right?
I don't think it's just the ingredients itself. It's being inspired behind the story behind the ingredients. So like,
Yes.
well, now that you know chicha, it's like you'll think about those rain barrels on the mountain of them just dunking
That
cups
is-
into these barrels of fermented corn. Like,
It's wonderful. Like, it sounds like kind of gnarly, but like just the history and the like, it's insane.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's on the list, and there's like, I got some ideas. We'll keep in touch. About
do a little collab.
Yeah.
I think that would be fun.
I'm liking this.
I've always wanted my name on a beer can.
Now I'd have to talk to the marketing department, make sure.
Yeah.
But
See
I'm
if that
sure we
aligns.
can let some things slide there.
Well, we got some cameras. We could do some marketing for it.
done.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go.
There you
There
go.
now we're talking.
Yeah.
Now we're
Bada boom.
talking. Yeah. I don't have considering our we have great social media team and whatnot, but pictures, they're all just raw pictures taken from our cell phones.
Sometimes that's all you need. I think there is, you can have beautiful polished photography and video and stuff,
Yeah.
but you can't only do that. I think there's this mix now, because I think consumers, when they see something too polished and only polished, there's like that humanity stripped from it.
That's true.
They're thinking of big brands, Labatt, and they're dumping money. I think there's something cool about having raw cell phone, because then they know you're just like a person.
It's true. And even like today, I was one of the things I had to do at the brewery was take some pictures.
Yeah.
And I could see my hand in the reflection of the glass, and it was driving me crazy. Like my hand, like I'm holding the phone, I can see my hand, I can see everything in the glass. So I'm trying to tilt it, and then the light's bad, and then I'm like trying like things like portrait mode, like beautiful pieces of software engineering were
Right in your pocket.
right, and it's all right there, so you can get some good stuff out of there. But there's something to be said about a professional, like you have a I don't know, like nice cameras with the lenses.
Yeah,
one of those,
the
one of
light in the
those,
right
one of those.
spot, and
One of these.
Yeah, and light is crucial. But we do some pretty good pictures. I cannot take credit for most of them. That's our staff. I find, and I make myself feel old when I say this, but like some of the gals that work for us, their camera skills are incredible.
it's just that generation.
But are they using? It's like we have the same phone. Like, what do you? Is it soft? What are you doing?
Angles.
Angles.
Yeah. They know their angles.
And I feel like I'm 107 years old. But that's fine. That's why we kind of like how
Tyler,
we get
delegation.
delegation,
There you
right?
go.
I'm like, I am not great at this, so I am going to delegate this off to someone who is better than I am. Move on, right? Delegation. That's not just in your normal life too. Like there's things you need to delegate, right?
Yes.
There's things that you can do yourself and things you should not do yourself. Like prime example, like with having a brewery, I know plumbing pretty well, the concepts, right? Electrical concepts, right? Does that mean I'm gonna like
Wire your brewery?
No,
Yeah.
right? I had a leak under my kitchen sink like a few months ago, just a little drip. Right? I'm like, okay, no problem. I see it and everything, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna start taking stuff apart. And then I accidentally cracked a piece of ABS piping on a different part of the pipes under the sink. I didn't even know. I'm like, why is this leaking more? And I went to a plumbing store. Then they closed because I ran into another problem after. And then I went to Canadian Tire, and the parts I needed were just crap. And I was like, what are you doing, Tyler? Like, 5 plumbers. I'm like, call them. They'll give them some beer, some money, whatever. I don't care. Fix it. They'll be in and out in 45 minutes. Here I am, 7 hours, 2 stores, angry. What am I doing? Right? Delegate.
I have no problem leaning into what I'm good at, making money with that, and then paying the people who are good at the things I'm not good at.
We're not all masters of everything.
Yes.
Right? And if you think you are,
like
full of
before,
shit.
I never had.
Damn it.
yeah.
I really thought I was.
I mean, you can be decent at a lot of things, right? But I don't know, and what I find, some people don't know what that thing is, right? Like
They haven't found it yet.
They haven't found, which is
okay,
fine, right?
Yeah.
Wow. What about you?
My personal problem is, I'm very curious. Have diagnosed ADHD. My problem is I want to do everything.
Yeah.
But you can't. There's not enough time in a day. There's not enough time in a lifetime. So my problem is I try to do too many things at once.
Sure.
And then I don't do any of them really well because I'm doing too many things.
Yep.
So it's
now, did you find this out about yourself, or did someone had to tell you about this?
I think a mix of me and my wife.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, and that's a good, right? It's nice to have that. Maybe you're right. Moments,
yeah, and
right?
she definitely likes that I'm so inspired by many things, and I want to learn different languages. I want to learn different instruments. It's but there's not enough time.
Nope.
I'm really into video games, but I don't play as much anymore because there's just not enough time. I got a podcast.
Likewise.
film industry. I have a brand, clothing brand that I'm working on. And then just life, like cooking dinner,
I mean,
playing sports,
Yeah.
You have
the
to do
simple
that
things.
stuff.
There's the
seeing your
simple
mom and
things.
dad.
yeah. Isn't that hard these days?
The
Yeah.
simple things.
Like visiting family. It's, and I don't know, again, another side of the conversation, but my goodness, hey mom, yeah, I'm thinking of coming by next week to visit, right? Next week rolls around, life gets too busy, and then I'm like guilty. I'm sending messages. Oh, I'm so sorry. Like it's your family, right? Like I wish I made more time for it. And because, and if you're lucky to still have family, have your parents or whatnot, it's easy to take that for granted, right?
Sure.
So
I definitely don't. I noticed as soon as I moved out that when I do see them, it was like more meaningful.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you become like more like friends than
Yes.
family?
Yes.
Isn't that cool?
That's
Yeah.
And weird, but cool.
Yeah, it is weird, but now we're just my parents are great. And they're like great together as well.
Yeah.
But like I can hang out with each of them individually or I can hang out with both of them and and we drink and we hang out and we travel and we do different things together and
That's wonderful.
yeah.
That's huge. And like, just being able to do that is just crazy. It's so good.
Yeah.
Right? So
My favorite thing to do with my dad is just go to the movie theater.
Oh really?
Yeah,
eh?
he's the one that got me into film. Like he was a huge movie buff. So
Yeah.
he was like got me into the obsessed with movies was my dad.
When the Star Wars franchise came
That's
out,
his
right?
That's his.
The new sound technology,
Yep.
right? That was like groundbreaking technology.
Yeah. And I
Right.
envy him because he was able to go and see that in theaters.
Yeah, yeah. That's cool though. I like that. But
Yeah.
yeah. I think visiting family is so important, and I'm like in the last few years I've definitely been more like this is on my mind type of thing, right? And I think it's important to keep them connected if you can, or even if you had some a past that was rocky. Things change when you're in your teens, and then you're in your like I'm 33. I'm a different person. You know what I mean? And so are they. Some to an extent.
When
so,
you're 19, you think you know everything.
yeah, you're.
And then you
dick.
hit
You're
your
a little shit.
25s and you're like, Dad, how do I do taxes? How do I do banking? How do I make how do I do how do I buy a house?
Help me, adult.
Yeah.
It's hard.
You realize that you really don't know shit.
Yeah, yeah. So no, it's keep those again, everyone has a different upbringing and whatnot, but if you have the opportunity and you consider yourself able to visit family, just do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Well, my parents bought me all those sample glasses there. 'Cause
Very nice.
For my 30th birthday, we did a beer tour around Norfolk.
I recall.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I didn't know, but at each spot they bought a sample glass, and
That's
then at the
pretty
end of the
cool.
day, they're like, "Here you go. Here's a flight of all the different spots we were at."
That's
so.
great. That's great.
Yeah, it's just little sentimental things like that.
So you hit up Charlottesville, Flux, Wishbone, and Concession Road.
Where did we start? We went to Charlottesville first,
Nice. I love their property.
Yes.
And their beer's great.
that loft up top.
Like
It's so cool.
Like, I want to read more. I don't read enough, but if I was I would just want to read up in that loft with a beer and just
Yes.
stay there for hours.
Yes,
Tim and Mel, thank you for having the loft
Yes.
and what you do.
so stunning. Like that place is beautiful.
Yeah.
And then we went to the winery, and then we went to Concession,
Yep.
and then Wishbone,
Yeah.
and then Flux.
And off that Flux, there you go.
And then once we hit Flux, my memory is super foggy.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Well, I was doing a flight at each location because I
Okay.
was like, I'm the kind of guy who I can't just have one thing. I need all of, like I said, I need to do all the things.
Yep.
So if I go to a brewery, it's pretty much I'm getting a flight because I just can't pick one.
So next time, what you have to do is you have to go and say, "Can I have the around the world?"
Okay.
So you get a flight sample of every beer.
Oh my God.
So that way we'll give you 12, right?
Like little.
Not driving that time.
sippies?
Oh yeah,
Like-
Like less
these.
or
No,
those.
more.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
More.
Your
You're-
4 or 5 ounce
Yeah.
sample.
You're gonna
Okay.
need a DD for around the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you're basically about 3 beers per stop. That's a lot.
That's a good amount.
Yeah, but food, time, water,
Yeah.
You know, it's you'll be a mess at the end, and you probably will get denied service halfway through because
Right,
we have
because of
rules we
Smart
have to
Serve,
follow.
yes.
Oh darn, right?
Darn.
But yeah, that's I like doing around the world because people get, and sometimes we'll do half like half
Yes.
sample pours.
Yes.
So you know you're having
You
like
can make it.
you're having like a beer and 3/4 or whatever it is,
Yeah.
right? Which is fine, right? And it's fun. It's fun because you're just surrounded by everything.
That's
right?
awesome.
Yeah.
When I
yeah.
come from trivia next, I'm getting around the world.
Get around the world.
Okay, I'm really saddened because my baseball game has started, and it's every Sunday. Yeah.
You know,
So I
it's,
might have to just skip out on one game just so I can get or two.
or maybe it's a rain game,
Maybe.
right?
Yeah.
And here's the thing, though, right? Like trivia is year round, and there are a lot of teams that are more seasonal. You know, or maybe they got extracurricular activities in the summer, or they got hockey in the winter, whatever the case is. It's all good. No, it's make it when you want to, when you can. It's all good. You don't got to be there if you're there every week. You know, like there are people that are there every single week, and I love it, and I admire. I don't have that kind of commitment to other places. I can't do that, and that's why trivia is so. I've created something very special, kind of accidentally.
It feels like a cult following, to be honest.
Okay,
And I haven't
before
made it yet.
I'm just gonna pee real quick.
Yeah.
Go pee.
Does anyone need to break? Are you good?
I could take a little break.
Okay.
Yeah,
Let's go on a
take a little break.
pause,
Pause?
and then we'll come back, talk about trivia, and then we'll wrap it up.
Deal.
Okay.
'Cause we're-
Oh, it went red. Oh shit! Just started going red again. I don't even think I pressed it.
Is it red?
Yeah.
So I think what is it? It's press for pause, press for unpause.
Yeah, I didn't even. I just had my hand hovering over it.
Oh, and it went nice.
So it started a new one. Anyways.
Okay, that's fine. Trivia.
Trivia.
Your trivia is the best trivia I have personally witnessed.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I was telling Drew the one time, I was like, you have to see, he was mixing this AI generated audio. That blew me away. It was like Miley Cyrus singing Led Zeppelin.
Yep.
But just.
You know, it's I don't know, like it. If I start from the beginning though,
Yeah.
because that's easier because I worked up to that point. It wasn't always like that, right? I was one like cold Sunday evening at the brewery, and we had no events going on or anything. Open like 12 till 9. We have 4 staff, probably too many staff at the time, and we didn't have a customer for like 4 hours, 3 to 4 hours. And I was like, well, this isn't very good. You know, this is terrible. It's funny. Small towns, like Sunday night, it's like once like the lamp posts turn on, everyone, it's like ghost town. There's nothing happening, right? And I'm from a small town, like I should have known this, but I was like, you know, for the only craft beer watering hole, I'm sure, you know, Sunday nights after dinner, come for a pint. It was hard. And I was like, we got to do something. And I've played trivia in the past, and I thought, it's a pretty big thing to undertake. But I was like, you know, I'm just going to make a trivia, just a little slideshow, and I'll make it, do some good questions, and kind of just see how that goes, right? And we had like 4 teams the first time, gave out some gift cards, and, you know, I was like, oh, that actually went pretty good. A couple hiccups, right? As always, first time, right? And then the second time, we had like 7 teams. Then like the third time, we had like 7, 8, 9 teams. And then we were getting double digits. And I was like, okay. I'm like, this is getting to be something. Then like 6 months goes by doing this every Sunday, making trivia from scratch. And I was like, maybe I'll sign up to one of those services that they provide you questions and whatnot. And, you know, they were either like really American-based questions or they were just like stupid questions that like who cares or who knows about that. Like just so I was like, I'm like, I'm not happy with it, right? It's my freaking brain of mine. I was like, no, I don't like it. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll dedicate some time during the week and I'll make sure I can squeeze in. It takes it like, 8 to 10 hours a week to make what I'm going to call now professional trivia from scratch. Never repeat a question ever, like as best as I can, right? Never repeat a question, always fresh new categories. And now Sunday nights, with music night on Friday, like it's our busiest night.
That's awesome.
That's crazy.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And like there was a time I remember, like I wasn't like emotional or anything, but I was like, this isn't good. Like this does not make me feel good. Like this is awful, right? You know, and again, you can have good beer, you can have good food. These days, you have to do a little more. Like the status quo, it's tough, right? So you're trying to be creative and you know, trying to do something different, right? But again, it's still like when everyone comes in, it's your living room. You're sitting down, you know, you're with your friends, family, or a couple of teams will join up who have never met each other, and now every week for 2.5 years they show up and
That's awesome.
Like, you know how good that feels,
That's so cool.
right? Like we have a team, the A team from you know, from Kitchener. That every
They come from
Sunday-
Kitchener?
They come from Kitchener.
Oh, shout out to the A team.
Damn.
Yeah, and
Commitment.
it is, and I don't know if I could personally do that, but I've again, it's weird from my perspective because I'm trying to put on a party, put on a show, right? And like there are weeks that it's hard. Like it'll be Sunday late morning, and I'm finishing trivia for that night, right? So I've always finished it because there's no choice, right? So it's hard, but it's fun though. Like the audio rounds, like using artificial intelligence to help you mix songs together, to blend celebrity faces together. We had one last week, and it was Kim Kardashian, half of her face, the other half was Yoko Ono, and it was named the Japanese garment. And it's a kimono. So it's Kim and Ono, Yoko Ono. So
kimono.
it was, not only do you need to know who the celebrities are, but you have to solve the riddle.
That's so cool.
Right? And some of the stuff I find online, some of it is just, it comes into my crazy noggin of mine. Sometimes it's an idea from one of our players, right? Like you know, there's no magical formula. You just kind of, I'll be driving and just look at a road sign and be like, I haven't seen that road sign before. Road signs, perfect. That's going to be the picture round, all these road signs, right?
What I do love is that AI is like kind of a touchy thing, especially in the creative world, but it really sounds like you use your own creativity to use it to make something. Instead of like, you like, hey, make me some interesting things. You're like, hey, I have this idea.
Yep. It's a tool in the tool belt.
Yeah.
Right? It's not everything, right? But it helps out. And so it's 5 rounds of 10 questions, and there's usually like you know, like a current events or general knowledge round, a picture round of sorts with whatever. Could be movie scenes, it could be
My favorite was the empty TV show sets.
Oh yeah, empty TV
So
shows.
Oh, that does
So
sound
he'd show
fun.
like Friends or Seinfeld or like a living room, like The Big Bang Theory, and you just have to guess what show it's from.
And like
So cool.
finding high resolution stuff from like Everybody Loves Raymond. Like it's hard, but when
you put a lot into
And
it for sure.
It's hard.
Oh my
So
goodness.
what I like about our team is there's different generations. We
got
have
a
like a
great
Gen
team.
Z, millennial, and a boomer. So like I'm not gonna get the old shows from the 80s.
Yeah.
Probably not. But I'll get the more modern ones. So it's like
And I mix things up. I always make sure every generation has something.
nice.
Because there's nothing worse than a pissed off boomer like at you. It frustrates me to all. I'm like, okay, like, so I'll make sure. I'm like, don't worry, I got some Dean Martin in there. I got some, you know what I mean?
What was that term you used earlier? The generations. I loved what you said, and I can't remember.
You know, sometimes words just flow nicely, and sometimes they don't. But that was a moment where it worked. I can't remember. But
We'll find it in the podcast.
yeah.
Anyways.
It was naming a generation without naming a generation.
Yes.
But yeah, you know, want to make sure everyone's taken care of. So we make sure we have, you know, like last week, I throw some T Swift stuff in there, and I have some, you know, Sam Cooke, like old stuff. So yeah, it's fun to the reason why I do this is so there was someone who, I'm not good at trivia. And it's like, no, you'll be fine at this trivia. It is random as you can fucking think. Like, that you have no idea what I'm thinking. It's so out of left field. I could do like, I don't know, I think about left field, baseball. Maybe I just show what the outfield looking out looks like the Green Monster in Boston, the Rogers Center. Like you could just have a little sports category.
Yeah,
right?
which stadium is this?
Which stadium is this,
Yeah.
right? Like there's certain things you can do. I've had where you get two logos, that look very similar, but one's altered a little bit. And I only use Microsoft Paint.
I think I've seen you do it once. I came in once with Sarah, and you were doing the logo thing where
Yeah.
you were changing, and it was puzzling to me. You showed it, and I'm like, I couldn't tell.
Like the Domino's one, there's like which one has the 1 point or the 2 points,
yeah,
I
just little tiny.
I literally use Microsoft Paint.
Oh, you did this one time. I think it was like very abstract, clean logos.
Yep.
So it was like, you'd see the Budweiser logo, but it was a really like minimal,
Yes. Like
minimized,
minimalistic
logos, and you had to guess what it was representing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's
So cool.
and when that's why it takes so long to do, but that's why people love it, right? And it can become addictive, like especially if you come first, second, or third, and if you haven't hit the podium before, when you hit that, you're like, yes, we did. There's this one team that comes all the time, and they're always 4th place, 5th place, 6th place, 4th place, and they I think they went right to 2nd place a few weeks ago, and the look on their face, it looks like they won the lottery. When I read out the scorecards, like cheers, like beer spilling. I'm like, this is exactly why I do this.
Yeah.
Seeing those genuine, pure happiness. It's like I can't wait to start next week. Right? I love it.
And I like that thing you have at the end where you can bet your points that you've won and double it. But if you get it wrong, you lose it.
Oh, so I don't.
shit.
I don't do that all the time.
Oh,
so
sometimes.
That's like a once a quarter.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of like it's Final Jeopardy type of thing.
Right.
Where it's like, okay, here's the topic. Okay, so how many points do you have? Oh, you have 37 points. Okay, you can bet. Here's the topic. How many points do you want to bet?
You can bet 7
or 0,
37.
37, whatever you want. And what's neat about that is the teams there's a couple teams that always do pretty well every week, and they'll be like, okay, do we risk it?
Do you play
we've worked
conservative
so hard
or-
to get to this great score. Maybe we'll bet 20, and then if they get it, it's like, okay, now you're in first place by a lot. But then I've had it so many times but I know I have cheeky questions that are very it might be one word in the question that makes it so what you're thinking is incorrect. Those questions take me an hour at least to think of, because I have to think about how everyone else is going to think about it. Like there's a lot of
I picture you
sneaky.
like in yoga pose, floating off the ground,
It's like figuring out.
like meditating. You're like, I got it.
I mean, I did do my first yoga class a couple weeks ago.
Nice.
And
Yeah.
it was very good. I had a great time. It was very relaxing. I'll get to the floating yoga pose one day soon.
Yeah.
But we'll have to start somewhere. But yeah, no, so trivia's been great. It's been going on. We've done like over 120,
That's awesome.
30 or so now.
At least for me personally, I've been going with Trevor and his family, but I've never met his mom really or his sister.
Okay.
And now I know his mom and I know his sister, and they're great, and I really enjoy being
They're
around
so
them.
nice.
And I wouldn't have done that if it wasn't for your trivia.
And that's great. Bringing people together is everything. Like it's I don't know. It's when you wake up in the morning, you can do whatever you want, and if you hang out with people, make friends, it's crazy. It's cool. The brewery is so much more than just me and the team. It has its own. It's living and breathing.
Yeah,
it has its
it's
own
aura.
life. It does, right?
Yeah.
And we're like, I like to think about it like when you go bowling. Like the bumpers. All I do is I have the bumpers, and I make sure we're just kind of, not going in the gutter.
Yes.
Right? And let it kind of just go its own
alive.
natural way.
Yeah, you'll
right?
hit the pins, just,
Yeah,
it might hit...
might not get a strike every time.
Yeah.
Right? We try.
Yeah.
But so that's what we do.
That's awesome.
So
Good analogy.
Yeah.
Where can people find you on social media and all that info?
Yeah, so at Wishbone Brews, Instagram, Facebook. We don't really do the Snapchat or Twitter or X or any of that stuff.
That's fine.
And
How do people can they buy your beers not at your location? Are you in the LCBO or the beer store?
Good questions. Things I should have touched on. So yeah, we are not in the LCBO as of this point anyway, but a lot of restaurants, like
Okay.
any restaurant, like, if you're within Norfolk County, every town is going to have us somewhere. So, in, again, Dover, Simcoe, Mount Pleasant, Brantford, St. Williams, Turkey Point area.
Can I buy your beer online?
Yeah, so you know what the best way for online is that a lot of shipping companies, unfortunately, have stopped making their way to Norfolk County. It's too out of the way from the GTA because that's where all the logistics companies are. So normally, honestly, shoot us an email. This is what I want. If you're within like 45 minutes, I'll just bring it to you.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing tomorrow?
Today I had, yesterday I had some deliveries, and then usually it's Wednesdays.
Yeah.
Usually it's Wednesdays. But normally I'm like all over, myself and Nick on Wednesdays and Thursdays, from, Dover to London to Kitchener to Hamilton.
Whoa.
We're everywhere. So like we're, again, when we're not open, we're working a lot.
Love the commitment.
Yeah. So, it's, again, it's a grind, but that's why we do it.
Nice.
So, yeah.
And before we go, what's the story behind Wishbone? The whole, the name?
Yeah. Well,
Because I don't actually know.
oh, okay,
Me
cool.
neither.
So, trying to think of a name is hard.
Yes.
It is so hard. And then as soon as you find one, it's taken. And, so, it's funny. Business plans done, everything done. It literally says like Ferguson Brewing Company because I don't know what to call it, right? Because you have to have something for business plans, right? And it was actually like a week after Thanksgiving. Ash, my other half, we were at my mom's house, and she always saves the wishbone from the turkey. And usually it's my brother and I who would do it, but he wasn't around. So Ashley and I, we pulled the wishbone, and literally right when that happened, it was like, Wishbone Brewing. It's like, good luck. You know what I mean? And I got the bigger piece of the wishbone too. I don't know.
Did you frame it as in the brewery?
So no, which is so sad. We should, yeah, I know. Wouldn't that be romantic? But I'm not going to tell a lie. But no, I don't know where it is. But we do have a couple big like wishbones from like 35-pound turkey. Like we got some big wishbones that are fun. But yeah, and the actually funny thing is there is a Wishbone Brewing in the UK, and I sent them an email just to be polite. Not that we're exporting to the UK or anything, but like, hey, we're opening a brewery. Do you care? Like they're like Wishbone Brewing, and we're at Wishbone Brews because they had the handle that we wanted. And the first 6 months, people are posting to it was a mess, right?
That's hilarious.
And I was just like, hey, are you okay? They're like, yeah, it's no problem. They're like, just send us a T-shirt. And next time you're across the pond, we'll teach you how to brew a proper English ale. And I was like, you got it. You got it, right?
The brewing community sounds really nice.
Oh, it's the best community. Everyone, for the most part, is so friendly. So yeah, it's a very it's weird in a sense that a lot of people aren't used to your competition. No, we're all a movement together. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, that's basically how it started.
Really cool.
Yeah. Now I do have a question for you guys as
Yes.
well. And I just thought of this a few moments ago. And I've been asked this before. And if you were to be eating your final meal, what would it be?
Oh, fuck. You go first. Steak tacos.
Does it have to be one meal, or can I pick like multiples?
Like I'm looking for like the main. You can throw a side in there if you want.
Oh.
Steak tacos?
Steak tacos, I stick with it. I love tacos. I love steak. That's what came to mind. I'm like, I love steak.
Yep.
But I love tacos.
Can I add dessert?
I mean, it's your meal,
Okay.
right? It's your meal, right?
I'm gonna start with a French onion soup, and a tall pint of Guinness.
Oh,
Maybe a few throughout the dinner, and then I'm gonna go with surf and turf. Just
very nice.
go bold and rich.
Yep.
Lobster, full lobster.
Yep.
And like a filet mignon, or even like probably like a tomahawk steak.
Just go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
Yep.
Eat it right off the bone, and then I'll probably end it with a creme brulee.
I love it.
Shit. Yeah,
love
well,
it.
that's... Can I change my answer?
I mean,
Yeah,
there's
go for
no
it.
That
wrong
sounds really
answer. I'll have
That-
what he's having.
Yeah, I'll have what he's having for sure, 100%. You got the steak in there. That's what I wanted.
Yeah, there you go. Right.
Yeah, and I
Nice.
like maybe an appetizer like oysters.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. I was just curious.
Do you want to switch? Or
No,
Just
I'm
switching to
gonna
me?
No, yeah, that sounds really good.
What's your last meal?
Yeah. So I would probably start with like a real Caesar salad.
Okay, I was thinking about that.
Like made with like your egg yolk and
like
your
they're
anchovies.
mixing it at the
and
table, sort
Mixing
of.
at the
Yeah.
table with like real like good bacon and some
bits.
like some the parm that's like like shreds of
Shredded,
it.
yeah.
It just
Pieces of it.
Yeah, like a nice balanced Caesar salad. And if I'm gonna stick on that route, like my mom's lasagna,
Okay.
just something that just like it fills all the cracks. It's salty. It's even a little sweet. Like it's just a perfect balance of just carbs and meat and cheese.
Yep.
Damn.
It's not like a wagyu. Sure, sure. But no, that's the one that would like make me feel good too.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
follow you.
Yeah.
Mom's lasagna.
Mom's lasagna. Yeah.
Fuck
No
yeah.
Italian in our bloodline at all, but damn, she makes a good lasagna. I love it. So
Yeah, I like a good lasagna.
Cool.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
Hey,
Would love to have you back on.
Sure. Yeah, this is
Yeah.
wonderful. You guys
Well,
are
once
great.
we get the Drew
The Drew Brew.
Yeah.
The Drew Brew. Yeah, that's to be continued.
Yeah.
To be
Say.
continued. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening.
All right. Cheers.
Thanks. Cheers.
That's great.